Well, Manaski, let's see. He said, let's hope we have better weather this week. We'll have better weather today, but then we're right back into winter-like weather for tomorrow and for Wednesday. Before things start to warm up again, and this might be the big warm-up, because we're really looking at like 50s and 60s. Here's the other thing. When you look outside right now, it's not pitch dark, Davey.
Yeah, it's kind of bright out. But it's cold.
Well, the sun is coming up earlier now, so we get to take advantage of that. Wow. Yeah. Holy cow. That go ahead.
Isn't this the reason that we can't change the clocks? That we have to have the
Well, this
times?
would be the time that they would want the clock to stay at. So this is what it would be like all the time.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. Davey, you can get on this if you want, too. I felt like, first of all, that Masters, the last couple of hours was just the most exciting thing in the world to watch. However, nobody seemed to want to win. McIlroy, blew it. It was really anybody's win. For, he had a 4-stroke lead. And then I walked away, and I'm like, well, this thing is over. I come back, and everybody's tied at 10.
Yeah, I thought after, as we talked about at the top there, right after hole 9, when DeChambeau fell apart, Rory made the putt to make it a 4-stroke lead. I thought that was it. And I hate to say this, but I kept telling myself, yeah, it's just not like it used to be when Phil and Tiger used to battle it out. And who's the other one that Tiger hated? They used to have the rivalry. Oh, boy. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Sergio Garcia, thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, it was exciting, and Rory ended up getting the big win. So, for anybody that picked him to win early, which you thought he had a shot, and then he didn't look good Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, he had an unbelievable day, and then yesterday was like a roller coaster.
Well, Saturday he started with an eagle, didn't he?
Yeah, he started with eagle, birdie.
And then yesterday's start was
double bogeyed the first hole.
It's over. He's gonna collapse, and then he recovered. So wow, very, very exciting. We got a lot to get to today. We'll be giving away. Go ahead.
So when he collapsed there, I said, "Oh, my guy's got a chance."
Yeah, you had
Alberg.
Yeah.
Alberg. He was tied for the lead, and then he did the par on 17, and then he fell apart on the 18th.
Yeah. I was rooting for the Canadian.
Corey Connors.
Yeah, and he looked like he was making a run, and then he just fizzled off into nowhere. Anyway, fun to watch. The Mets had a nice win. Listen, the Oakland A's are in a shambles, but nice victory for the and Senga looked good. They fell on Saturday, which they probably shouldn't have. But listen, we're winning the series each week.
Yeah,
or each 2 or 3 times a week, whatever that is.
The game Saturday, I can't think of who came up in the 9th, but he almost tied it with 2 outs, almost hit a home run right down the line. But ultimately, the Mets did come up short Saturday. I wish they would have swept.
And listen, Soto continues to. I mean, they walk him. It's very difficult, especially. But at some point, you got to be catching mistakes and hitting home runs.
Yeah,
and he is not doing that. But certainly giving Alonso the opportunity to do it. What else? I got a lot of things, including the Four Tops and the Temptations. Coming up at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. We have your tickets this week. So if you're, I'm wondering if you feel like there's a medley with 6 songs in the medley that are either the Four Tops, or the Temptations. Do you think you know what songs are in the medley? And if you do, we'll begin taking calls today. I don't want to have to make this thing easier. I really feel like someone is going to walk away with the 6 songs in this medley. Check it out. Not easy. I'll admit it. Not easy. One more time. Phone number is 315-736-0186. If you think you know the 6 songs in the medley, you have to get them in order. You're snickering.
I was going to ask you, how do you win the tickets?
You win by
736-0186.
You win by calling in and saying, "Here are the titles." If you think you know, give it a try. If not, I'm going to have to make this thing a little easier. I've been getting yelled at like there's no way anybody's going to get this. I don't know why. If you listen to it carefully, you can pick them all out. They're there. The Temptations and the Four Tops coming to the Event Center, the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, Sunday, April 27th at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at the Turning Stone box office or through Ticketmaster. And here's the deal. You could win your tickets here this morning by giving us those 6 titles. Let's see. I got a bunch to get. Did you see the Anthony Constantino story? Anthony Constantino, he came on here. He was running NY21. Came in to fight, clearly. Walked in, and it turned into a... He sent me a message recently. And I think I can pull it up here. So, and then I wrote the editorial, little piece on him, which basically I said he's like a cross between a mid-level WWE wrestler and P.T. Barnum, kind of mixing in there a little bit. And his response to me after he left the studio, and I had not seen this. Hold on, here he is. I had fun talking. This is the day of the interview that it went south a couple of Fridays ago.
Okay.
I had fun talking to you today, but you're a coward and a loser for cutting my microphone. I made you look like a total idiot.
Okay, how bad did it get in here?
For him, really bad.
What was the issue you tore him down on?
Well, he just came in, he started fighting. He just started arguing, and you weren't fair to me the last time. You owe an apology to Elise Stefanik, which was ridiculous. I had made a little side joke that he was upset that she's back in and the race is no longer. He put all this money into this thing, but he's not done. He's still sending out direct mail. I'm talking to people who are still getting direct mail text messages from this guy. He's not giving it up. You haven't heard the interview. You would have to hear it. I responded by saying, you think so? I'm afraid we have different interpretations of reality. It goes on a little bit, but I'll leave it at that. And by the way, I did say, because his whole thing was, every poll I took, I won the race. I'm President Trump's favorite. I'm, blah, 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 blah. We just got to listen to this guy and claim all of his ridiculous claims. And so I responded by saying every poll I conducted had you losing our little battle here in studio. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Was there a new development there in that case?
Yes, there is a new development. Did you see this, Davey? He, over the weekend, was at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I saw your post yesterday when you put it up. I read it. He bought a...
Go ahead.
He put a statue
He
up.
had a bronze statue made of President Trump, and he delivered it to Mar-a-Lago, where at one of the golf courses down there, it's at one of the holes, and there's a picture of it up on our website right now at WIBX950.com. And he said he had lunch with Elon Musk and with the president at Mar-a-Lago. He says he is a member of Mar-a-Lago. I have no reason to believe that he isn't. And there's a picture of him, President Trump, and the big bronze statue that he delivered down there. He is an enormous President Trump fan.
It sounds like Trump's at least likes him, right? If he's
the storyline that's out there is the reason Elise Stefanik was sent back is he's one of the reasons. They could not trust what was going to happen in that in that election, and the infighting between county chairs. That would include our own chair, Ken Rozier, of the Republican Party, the fighting back and forth, and candidates like Constantino, who just could not be trusted. And the president said this is too crazy, we're just going to send Elise back to the seat where we know that she'll be, she'll no longer have it, which is a blow to her because she had the greatest job in the world coming. And anyway, so you can check out the story and the photo up on our website at WIBX950.com. Making his way in studio right now. Did that you get a shock there?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
No, the story shocked me.
Yeah.
No.
Of course it did. Did you in studio is the one and only Tim Reed. Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I have your
I've got the article.
You do? I want to see that.
I do, yeah.
And I have your I borrowed Tim's roof rake or snow rake. What do we call that? Snow rake?
Yeah.
I have it in my car. That came in really
Do a
handy.
trade.
Yeah, we're going to do a trade.
Yeah.
Looks like a giant drug trade.
Now we're
a big one.
We're confident now that we're not going to need it again, right?
Well, it is going to snow probably in the next 24 hours. Probably tomorrow and into Wednesday. We're going to get a little snow before things warm back up, and they will. But it is kind of nice out there now, and the sun's up already.
I mean, yesterday was, really
Yesterday
wasn't
was
that.
nice.
I mean, wasn't that warm?
It wasn't
but it
that
felt
warm.
warm.
It was it was the sunshine, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I was outside doing a few things. I have a little bit of onion grass. You know what onion grass is?
Yeah.
And it's difficult because it's bulbs, so you can't use like a typical herbicide.
Okay.
So you have to like dig
What
them
is
up.
onion grass?
Onion grass is
Is it like crabgrass? Like the I'm going to look it up. Keep talking.
if you quickly, it looks like a wild onion or a wild garlic growing in your lawn there.
Oh, okay.
And like even in the spring before we get the grass growing, and then in the fall when the grass dies, that's when it's most noticeable because it stands up and it's that like lime green color. It sticks right out, but it grows when your grass isn't growing. So it's sticking out all over the place, and I'm trying to dig it up without using. Because I don't know
Onion
with the
grass,
Roundup.
scientifically known as Allium venale, is a common weed that thrives in lawns and gardens, often mistaken for wild garlic. It's recognized by its thin, spear-shaped, waxy leaves and white bulbs. While edible, it's also considered, you can eat it, by the way, an invasive weed in many regions, can be tough to control and tough to get rid of.
Right, and I think
onion
that
grass.
because those bulbs are like, I don't know, at least 3 to 4 inches under the soil. So you can't just put a topical herbicide on it to kill it. You kind of have to get in there and remove it. So I don't even have a garden, but I'm out there.
It looks like something that my wife would like plant in our garden where the grass gets really tall and...
Well, and I think my grandfather, I know, had a huge garden back there, and he would grow, tomatoes and a bunch of other things. And I just feel like these, how would you say it? They just kind of took over an area of the garden because I believe they're invasive. And
well, it's kind of like mint. If you plant mint, you got to be really careful with that because it gets underground and it can be really brutal. So you got to be careful. Okay, so what are you doing about it?
Well, I was digging it up yesterday, and just cut out a little square, make sure I get under there far enough to get the bulbs out, and it was quite chilly, and then all of a sudden, the air temperature didn't change, but the clouds kind of pulled back a little, and then it was a beautiful day all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
45 never felt better. It was great.
And it did get up to the low 50s and low to mid 50s. But Tim, the sun really did make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was nice.
I didn't take my vitamin D yesterday.
Yeah, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Right? A couple of comments. Bill, I caught another huge brown trout yesterday morning, 16 3/4 inches. On the 9th, I caught a 13.5 brown. Always take pictures for proof. It's Johnny Rocket. John in Bridgewater.
Now? Yeah,
Nice
John
job,
in Bridgewater,
John.
I thought that's who you meant when you said he caught another brown trout.
Yeah. And what is today the 14th? Okay, the rest of these are older. I'll get to some of those comments coming up. What else do I have here today that I think kind of interesting? Did anybody see was it the pink moon that was this weekend? It's a full moon, but it was supposed to be pink or red moon or something like that. I don't know.
I didn't see it.
It was supposed to have a tint to it, and I believe it did on Saturday. We wouldn't have seen it because we were all cloudy on Saturday, but the full moon was visible yesterday, but it didn't look pink at all to me.
No.
It looked kind of white. like the normal moon. Yeah. Let's see. There is a story. This is an Elon Musk story that I wanted to just touch on. There is a man who was in a car accident, and he became a quadriplegic. And do you know what Elon Musk has done? And it's changed this guy's life.
Yeah.
He placed a chip in his brain, and the guy can now use his mind to move the cursor on his computer and to get his computer to do things. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think eventually they're saying that these chips are going to be able to kind of basically rewire your spine.
Yeah.
So that people are eventually going to be able to walk
They'd be able to walk again.
Okay, I think that's incredible.
And it's Elon Musk doing this, by the way. It's really hard to find any controversy. I guess somebody could probably find controversy in it, but it's a real positive. This guy claims this has completely changed his life. He is, I believe, chip candidate 0, the very first to ever have it placed in his brain.
So, for years...
He's a guinea pig, but it's changing his life.
We've talked about, like, what the future would be like with AI and all these other things, and I never thought... I understand with AI, and you can program it to have its own personality and be smart and literally have artificial intelligence, but while they did predict it, and there's been, these crazy sci-fi movies made about it, I never thought we would be able to merge computer hardware with your brain. And that's what he's doing.
Well, really, what it's really the chip allows to activate the software. So whatever that software is, it's really incredible. And it's not necessarily AI; it's his own brain doing the work. But it is able to. This is just the beginning of this. Imagine what could happen down the road.
And I didn't. The only reason I mentioned AI is because they predict all these things. Like even when you go back to the Jetsons, like what's it going to be like in 20 years or 40 years? But I really didn't think we don't have a slot for that where you slide a disc into your brain. I really didn't think they could create one.
Empty slot. There isn't.
But that's what he put a disc in his brain.
Yes, a tiny little chip. And,
a chip, not a disc.
He's doing really well. Meanwhile, that pig organ that went in that woman, that was the longest a pig organ had ever worked, I guess. It has now failed. They've said, I don't know much about that story, except I saw that. Tony online. Tony, here he is. Tony on line 2. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. What's going on, Tony?
Well, this country needs a big change. We need some strong leadership. Ex-professional wrestlers, actors, anybody that's strong-minded and willed, We need to go from a minimum wage to a maximum wage. We need to get this country back on its feet. People in the medical field are earning under $1 million, but sports entertainment's making 20, 30, 40 million.
Well, people in the medical field are making a lot under $1 million.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. And they're working diligently, 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sports entertainment, half a season. They don't even barely travel anywhere.
Yeah.
Musicians and professional wrestlers across the board go across the nation and rub elbows with the top of the dogs and the bottom of the low,
Right.
And we need to snap this country back into shape.
I only ask you on your I'm intrigued by the maximum wage.
Me too. That's what I just wrote down.
Because a maximum wage would mean...
Well, if everybody made a decent living, we wouldn't have crime so high.
That's true.
People would have to be able to go, oh, Mom, bologna sandwiches again? No, roast beef.
Yeah.
Let's go that next step. Let's get the working man and the working women on welfare back into the workforce. I don't care if you have 12 kids. We'll help you out. We'll get those kids going, and then we'll get you back to work. No, there's ways to do this.
Yes.
We just don't have people to step up because we're chicken to speak up.
To speak up.
I was just on a radio show called Red Eye Radio.
Red Eye.
Gary McNamara.
Is it
Gary
a...
McNamara and Eric Curley do this talk show. This guy's like a Rush Limbaugh. He's unbelievable. And I listen to it all the time. I called last week and got on the air. I went national. About 13,000, across the board. Listen to me.
Wow.
I called Mayor Glenn Jacobs, who used to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Has the name of Kane.
Okay.
Davey knows all the
Yeah,
professional.
Davey knows this,
I can
yeah.
see. Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
But I called Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah.
As Knox County, he doesn't want to run for president. He wants to,
Sure,
go with
sure,
his
of
town
course.
and area first.
Yeah.
I said, that makes sense. I said, well, you're only 57 years old. This is the blood we need. This guy's like 6'8".
Wow.
Who's going to flirt with this guy?
You're right.
No,
You're
but-
right. You're
Right,
right.
exactly.
You're right.
These are the people. We got Linda McMahon as part of the cabinet under Trump.
Sure, we
had
do.
Jesse-
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had Jesse Ventura as governor of Minnesota, but I think he's too old. I'm calling wrestling schools, radio stations. I'm calling business owners. I'm trying to plug somebody into shape going,
Outrageous.
okay, it's time to rock this boat.
It's time to run. But I want to go back, if I could, to a maximum wage. The problem with a maximum wage is you might, like, for instance, Town Square uses the maximum wage concept here.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
all
what
right,
I mean.
you're going to
Guys
make...
like you are going to end up losing your jobs and stuff, or you can't make
Right.
a living going, wow, I can't
Right.
provide for my family
Right.
or nothing. We're crashing and burning as a nation.
Yeah.
The racism, everything. I mean, it's just nonstop stupidity.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. And I cannot sleep. I'm calling
I
and
can tell.
calling and going
Yes.
and trying to network and go,
Yeah.
okay, this is enough.
right.
I'm blind and disabled. If I could do it, I would.
But you can't. Yeah.
You
Well,
know, it's just
okay.
ridiculous.
You've given me a lot to think about, and I got to let all this sink in, and I will. And let's.
Well, I hope somebody out there is listening and
Yes.
say, listen, enough's enough.
Yes.
Let's kill this. Let's be a strong nation. Let's hug our brothers and sisters and go, enough's enough.
Enough is enough.
I
Yeah.
know that you're probably, I don't know if you're a Christian, but let me break this down really quick.
Okay, all right.
All right. Jesus or God sent out Lucifer, blah, 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 and, gave him all the powers over the earth.
I wish
That's
my
how I
priest
look
would
at
do it this way. It's God sent down the blah blah blah. And then,
Right.
all right, well, let's go, everybody. It's the end of Mass.
Hold on.
Yes.
Why can't Jesus and Lucifer make up and cease fire so there's no more pain and suffering?
Right.
I think he's a selfish God. To me, God doesn't exist. God isn't with you. God is within you. Okay?
Yeah.
There's many, many versions of the Bible. Which one's the right one?
That's a good.
You know,
That's a
what
very
do you
good question.
believe?
Which is the
Yeah.
right one? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
You know?
Now you've even added more for me to think about now. More. Wow, Tony.
Yeah.
You are
I'm
on.
trying to educate myself and educate others. That's
Well,
the problem
you're-
with the other thing, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Education. Get these kids motivated.
Yes.
Give them something, an incentive. Tickets to Walt Disney or field trip,
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
got to stop the school shootings.
Wow,
everything.
you're
You can't
covering
go to-
everything.
You can't go nowhere anymore.
No.
Oh, I got topics upon topics.
You are. Yeah, you're topic heavy. You are topic heavy
Well,
today.
I also left a message with Joe Griffo, the
Okay.
senator.
All right.
Hopefully he'll call me back.
Yes, he might. He might.
I've called. I'm trying to get a hold of Brindisi, the mayor. I mean, I'm starting here, sort of.
Well, Brindisi's a
and
judge
feeling out.
now, so he's not able to do a lot of the political stuff anymore. Any of the
Okay.
political stuff. Yeah, he's a judge now. Brindisi's a
Right,
judge.
for
Yeah.
what is it, 27th district? Is it?
I'm not sure which district. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to
All
plug
right.
in
It's the
people, and
fifth.
people go, you're making
Fifth
sense.
judicial.
I said,
Yeah.
well, if I'm making sense, and channel that energy,
All right.
until we can find somebody.
On this
We
note-
we gotta start this campaign now for the
Yes.
next 4 years.
All right.
You know?
All right. Let's let it sink in, and we'll to be continued. I love
Okay.
it. All right. Good stuff,
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. Oh, and one more
Oh, there's
thing.
more. Yes.
Yeah, no, this is off the record.
Okay. Off the record.
When you did the plate night, Brian
night.
Hess
Yes.
over at PK's Pub is now doing breakfast.
Okay. We love PK's
I
Pub.
love the plug he dropped at the
Yeah, you
end
dropped
of
a
this.
little plug there. A little plug. A little plug.
Wednesday through Sunday, he does breakfast.
A little
Subtle
Joe,
Joe
A
load.
little Joe load in
A
here.
little load.
That's right.
Just a light load.
All right, Tony.
That's
Thank you.
incredible.
All right, bud.
Tony
Okay, you have a
Baloney
good
calls
day.
up, calling all former
right.
No,
WW.
hang on. I'm Tony Roney with the meatball eyes.
Tony
But the
Roney.
bologna sandwich. That's
right.
what got me was the bologna
Thank you,
sandwich.
Tony.
People are committing crimes because they've
All right.
eaten too
I'm-
many
Right.
bologna
right.
sandwiches.
Dropping your call now. Well, thank you. And good stuff, Tony. Thank you. All right. Goodbye. Say goodbye.
By the way, my favorite local coffee shop now has added decaf. I just wanted to throw that in there as well. I don't even know what place I'm talking about, but just to go on that rant and cap it with PK's Pub is now serving breakfast.
Well, and PK's is in Herkimer, and it's a very good place if you ever get a chance. The food is really good.
I like Tony talking about, getting people back to work and the 12 kids. And so, now with us trying to onshore jobs, these kids, they have tiny hands. Probably we can use that for, shirts and sneakers and things such as that or whatever. We bring back child labor.
Because we're not going to be using their tiny hands to build iPhones anymore.
No.
Because we just pulled that whole, everything that we buy from China, we have now removed from the tariffs. I can't follow this. It is just crazy to follow. Wow. Yeah. Well,
it's a beautiful world.
It's a
tomorrow,
beautiful world.
Tomorrow's a special day.
All right. Tomorrow is the 15th.
Tax day.
Is tomorrow the official tax day?
Yes.
Okay.
So, there's a difference between shearing a sheep and skinning them. Mm-hmm. And I think that I got to drop off a couple checks today, and there's more skinning.
Not good. Yeah. Not good.
Oh, well.
It is what it is. Tomorrow is that day. And it isn't until June that I think you reach that day where it's Tax Freedom Day.
Right.
Where you've worked all year long, and if you really look at it, you've only paid your taxes. And then you reach that point, and you're now making the money. You familiar with that day, Tax Freedom Day?
You work for Town Square. That happens around January 4th.
That's a very good point.
Of the following year.
That's a very good point. All right, we will talk about the missing. This is really terrible.
Beaver?
The missing beaver.
Wait, what?
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower, the missing beaver, and we're going to get into that coming up in a second. Stand by. Davey, I'm going to take a break because that's what you're yelling at me. He's yelling in the back of my head here. You must take a break. Hold tight. We'll come right back and talk about the search for the missing beaver coming up.
Are your tires tough enough for the journey ahead? The Nokian Tires Outpost tire is strong enough for getaways, but comfortable for the daily grind. The Outpost is infused with puncture-resistant fibers, assembled in North America, and covered by a pothole protection warranty. Extend your adventures with the Nokian Tires Outpost.
Find Nokian Tires Outpost tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business. It's 8200 or visit bmecompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
The church gives us a peace the world cannot give. Letting go of bitterness and resentment can help us find inner peace. The sacrament of reconciliation and the grace the sacrament provides may help us to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and enjoy a peace we may not have known for years. What a gift! On April 14th, Catholic churches throughout the diocese will be open for the Sacrament of Reconciliation. The light is on for you. Come home for Easter and celebrate the joy of the risen Christ.
Are your tires tough enough for the journey ahead? The Nokian Tires Outpost tire is strong enough for getaways, but comfortable for the daily grind. The Outpost is infused with puncture-resistant fibers, assembled in North America, and covered by a pothole protection warranty. Extend your adventures with the Nokian Tires Outpost.
Find Nokian Tires Outpost tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Okay. Good morning. It's time to shift gears, people. Shift seasons and shift into savings. GPO Federal, and we're ready for the shifting of gears when it comes to temperature and weather. GPO Federal Credit Union is rolling out an auto loan sale now through April 30th. Rates as low as 4.99% APR for up to 5 years on 2021 to 2025 models. So you can hit the road this spring in the car you want. Thinking about refinancing, they have you covered as well with rates on 2017 to 2020 models as low as 5.49% APR. Apply today at gpofcu.com, or you can stop into your local branch. But hurry, the deal ends April 30th. GPO Federal Credit Union, your journey, our commitment, as they say. Membership eligibility required. Credit restrictions apply. Rates based on credit history. Existing GPO loans cannot be refinanced. Cannot be combined with any other discounts or incentive offers. Promo rate available March 1st through April 30th, 2025, so you must act now. Rate subject to change, and SUA insured. See branch for full details. And that's all I have to say about that. Some comments. Where is Megan? She's on vacation. Scooter, Juan, she is always away on vacation. It does seem like she gets a lot of vacation. Listen, you don't take it in pay here. You take it in vacation.
I guess so.
Yeah. John is QAnon John. He said, it's coming. Millions are not paying taxes. They are voluntary. Hawkeye, Anthony Constantino, is CNY's own version of the My Pillow guy. Look how that worked out for him.
Okay.
And he is a spectacle.
Wait a minute. QAnon John. Is this some sarcasm that I'm not picking up on?
John is a QAnon guy, and he has been saying the dollar will be dead. I'm like, come on. I don't know. The dollar value has moved in the wrong direction, let's say.
If you don't know, you don't know.
If you don't know, and that's what you get with QAnon people. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, then I can't tell you because... Yeah. And then usually a QAnoner, John, and you know this, a QAnon person will kind of, when you say, well, that can't be true, they'll kind of laugh at you like, I just can't waste my time with you.
You know, I don't know. Sometimes this QAnon reminds me of like when you read your horoscope and you're kind of like, you read it and somehow you try to make reality fit into the horoscope or like you will meet someone interesting today.
Oh my God, I did meet somebody interesting today.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
So it,
So it's broad enough where you can apply it to everything.
So this is a conspiracy where he's saying nobody's going to pay their taxes.
It's voluntary.
Well, he said the end of America as we know it. Sounds like an REM song.
Yeah, it's the end of America as we know it.
The end as we know it is coming to a close.
But if he's a QAnon guy, I thought Trump was here to save us, not to be the final nail in the coffin.
I believe that he does feel that Trump is saving us. And what he's saying, and I got to say, he said, you know, he's going to tank the market, he's going to tank this, he's going to... And now look at where we are. I don't know what futures look like today, but we are in a very unstable state right now.
The future is uncertain.
The future is uncertain. So
feels like that 8-ball that you turned over. You ask a question, and
so that's right. The future is uncertain.
Ask again.
All right. So the what do we know about cauliflower, the missing beaver? So there were, I believe, 3 beaver babies, if you will, that young beavers that were brought in to the Utica Zoo, and on Wednesday of last week they discovered one was missing.
Yes.
And now it is on the loose, and they feel that it's somewhere around the zoo.
Yes.
Maybe in a stream, or, you know, if you start seeing trees going down in your backyard, you may be like, oh my God, I think the beaver is in the backyard.
You find torpedo bats like lying around.
That's right.
And whatever.
And I wonder if this is if an animal that lives in the zoo can survive in the wild.
Yeah.
Can they?
Well, so
unlike a domesticated.
I do not consider myself an expert in beaver. However, my understanding is that these beaver were neutered. However, apparently, I think this is a male. I don't know. It's a male, female. We have 1 or 2 choices. So in today's world, maybe many choices. But apparently,
That's true.
Could be driven by its thing in the spring.
by its
whatever
drive for sexuality.
Whatever, even though it's neutered, it still is excited.
It's still hungry.
So it might be going out looking for love in all the wrong places.
I see. Speaking of that, we've
got a beaver on the lane.
If I can quote Leslie Nielsen from the Naked Gun movie as Priscilla Presley was climbing the ladder, and he looked up and said, "Nice beaver," and she handed him a stuffed beaver.
Yeah,
nice beaver. Okay, enough of this.
Yes.
So the thing is missing, and they're asking for people, if you see the beaver, to reach out. It's not every day you see a beaver, so this beaver is missing, and they're hoping to get it back with its other siblings. I believe there are 2 other siblings there at the Utica Zoo.
Wasn't there a couple years ago that somebody stole a goat and then they ate it or something? There was some sort. There was a story about that.
There was a rumor that had happened. I thought, but maybe not. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember
in some
that
cultures,
story.
Yeah.
In some cultures, goats are
it's good.
Are really delicious.
This wasn't a campaign thing from Trump, was it?
I don't know.
They're eating the goats. The community, the goats are missing. They're eating them.
Here's Wayne. Hi, Wayne.
Hey, guys. I was going fishing yesterday, and I was coming by the Shenandoah Bridge, coming back towards Home Depot.
Yeah.
And I look over, and I thought I seen a raccoon. There's a homeless guy who's set up shop under the bridge in them cubicles. And he's got a mess over there. I mean, it looks like, I know, garbage, tires, everything. He's got, it is a mess. It looks like the bad part of town under that bridge.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and I thought it was a raccoon. And I looked again, and it stood up. It was a fox. And this fox was on its way up to that homeless guy.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was feeding the fox. I wonder if he's feeding it. That's probably not a good idea.
I don't know about feeding it, but he's got so much garbage that he's throwing down the, because it's like a hill. It's like, It's like all he's got to do is whatever he's doing.
Where is this?
You know how you go past where the funeral home is, past French Road?
Shenandoah.
Okay, over there. Yeah.
And you see that bridge. It's right there. As
you can see the bridge.
And IHOP, before IHOP.
You can see the bridge from the arterial, too? I don't know.
The bridge itself is the arterial.
Okay, yes. Right. Yes. So, yes, it is down in by the railroad tracks. It's awful down in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it was nice. They had cleaned it up and everything.
I know they did.
Because there was somebody jumping out of them bushes, one of the homeless guys, and maybe scaring somebody, but they cleaned it all out. And you turn around, and now, like I said, it's like there's cubicles underneath there where the pigeons and everything live, and he set up shop. There's like 5 on one side and 5 on the other. He took over 3 of them.
Okay, wow.
But he's made I'll tell you what, it's a good idea.
This has been the most...
Is it a full moon or a pink moon?
Yeah.
Pink. I believe it's pink moon.
Loco moon.
Wayne, this has been a crazy morning already, and it's just it's not even 7 o'clock yet. Okay, we'll look for that, Wayne. Thank you, man.
When you say set up shop over there,
they make camps and they live there.
Oh boy,
they're a mess.
Got it set up better than somebody who has a house.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got everything.
Good for him.
But his own sod set up out front.
Yes, there is. There you can see them, and you can see them as you're getting on off Burstone Road. If you're getting on, you can see down by the railroad tracks. If you're getting on the arterial, you can see him over in that area.
This is only one guy.
He's
got himself up in there. He's got a place to park his cart. He's got all his garbage over in another area. Collecting tires in another.
Did you say car or cart? Cart.
Yeah, his cart.
His cart. Okay. All right, Wayne.
What if he's paying property taxes?
All right, Wayne. Thanks, man.
3 or 5
Later,
slots.
Have a good day. You see the story out of Nineveh? How do you pronounce that town in Nineveh? Nineveh, New York. Yeah. I don't really know how to pronounce it.
Here.
2 upstate New York brothers have been arrested because one had child pornography and the other sexually abused a cow.
Oh, wow.
It is awful. This is a terrible story from New York State Police arresting 37-year-old Christopher Banks and his brother, and they both have been charged. His brother is 38-year-old Mark Banks, and they've both been charged with some really bad stuff. What a mess.
What a mess.
Yeah. Anything else? Oh, we have, speaking of a beaver and all of these crazy stories today, and the wild, and whether the beaver is out, in heat, if you will. We have a robin that keeps pecking away at our sliding glass door at all hours of the day and night because, and I'm wondering what was going on, but it turns out the robin can see its reflection and thinks it's another bird as it's mating season for the robins. And it's driving us nuts because you'll be trying to sleep and this thing is pecking away at the window. Crazy times. What an hour of radio. Where are you going to find it? Nowhere.
By the way, the
news is next. I'll get to that coming up.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They've been your hometown buyer for over 50 years. While other gold and silver buyers claim to offer the highest prices, the Potting Shed Antiques actually delivers. Let Don Hartman take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. The Potting Shed Antiques, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Visit thepottingshedantiques.com.
Now at Kubota Orange Days, your local Kubota dealer at White's Farm Supply is delivering the savings you need for the life you love. Join us on Saturday, April 26th at our Waterville location for the exclusive deals on America's favorite compact tractors. We'll help you find the perfect match with special Orange Days financing and savings. Don't miss this chance to save on the Kubota you've always wanted. Only at White's Farm Supply in Waterville on Saturday, April 26th from 9.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome. W295EI. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Got him. CJ Papa, Fox News. 38-year-old Cody Ballmer, identified by authorities in Pennsylvania as the man who jumped over a fence and evaded state troopers after setting fire to the governor's mansion. The state's leader outraged at the attempt on him and his family during Passover.
We celebrated our faith last night proudly, and in a few hours we will celebrate our second Seder of Passover again proudly. No one will deter me or my family or any Pennsylvanian from celebrating their faith openly and proudly.
Fox's Alicia Acuna with more.
New charges in the attack on the Pennsylvania governor's home. Police say a man was arrested for an early morning fire that damaged the home of Josh Shapiro. Shapiro, his family, and another family escaped. The fire was set in the room where the families were celebrating Passover. No one was hurt.
Ballmer is charged with attempted murder, arson, and terrorism. The Dauphin County DA's office said earlier today part of the home was badly damaged. He's a key friend for President Trump, who's been sending his nation alleged criminal aliens.
President Nayib Bukele has emerged as a leading ally for President Trump in Latin America, opening up a notorious Salvadoran prison to house suspected gang members deported from the U.S.
We very much appreciate President Bukele and El Salvador's cooperation in the repatriation of El Salvadorian gang members who the previous administration allowed to infiltrate our country.
The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt did not say if the administration plans to work with Bukele about the return of a Salvadoran migrant wrongly deported to his home country. The Supreme Court says the federal government is required to facilitate Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia's release. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Justice Department confirms Kilmar Abrego Garcia is alive and detained at the Secot prison in El Salvador. America's listening to Fox News.
The children of our nation know little to nothing about 9/11. But the Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute is righting this wrong by helping teachers educate kids in kindergarten through 12th grade. Their nonfiction first-person accounts are told through videos and the Discovering Heroes book series. The Institute offers full scripted curriculum units with background for teachers, a speakers bureau for classrooms, a mobile exhibit that's an interactive museum with 9/11 artifacts and FDNY guides. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Well, Congress in recess for a couple of weeks, but that does not mean Washington, D.C. closes down. The courts are open for what many are considering the biggest trial in the history of a social media behemoth. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more.
Testimony is expected from Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, as well as former COO Sheryl Sandberg and other current and former Meta executives. At issue are allegations from the Federal Trade Commission that Meta monopolizes the personal social networking market. The FTC says Meta should not have been allowed to buy Instagram for $1 billion in 2012 and WhatsApp for $19 billion in 2014. Meta says it's not a monopoly and that buying the two platforms has not hurt competition. The trial is expected to last weeks and could result in the company divesting Instagram and WhatsApp. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Devices like smartphones, iPhones, laptops are exempt from what's known as reciprocal tariffs, but White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller on Fox's Sunday Morning Future says
there are no exemptions. Everyone pays at least the 20%.
Fox's Gernal Scott has more on the tariff picture.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick supports the president's use of tariffs, saying bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. is a national security issue. If we don't,
we're going to be the thinker for the rest of the world, but they're going to manufacture. And if someday they say, gee, we're not sending it to you, we'll be nothing.
Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren sides with the Constitution, which says when the president says an emergency warrants tariffs,
it is then up to Congress to say, okay, by standing by, or to say, no, there is not the kind of emergency that you have declared.
Both were on ABC's this week. Senator Warren says a vote in about 2 weeks will show if any Republicans support her position. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Rory McIlroy captures his first green jacket, winning the Masters in a thrilling sudden death playoff over Justin Rose. I'm CJ Papa. This is Fox News.
We have cloudy skies, 36 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski. WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM news time is 7:05. West Canada Valley schools are closed today due to a boiler issue. No new talks expected to take place today as New York State continues to operate without a state budget. The state budget director says policy issues are still the main holdup in discussions between lawmakers and Governor Hochul. A budget extender was passed last week that'll keep the state running through tomorrow, which is when the legislature is expected to return to the state capitol. They were supposed to be off on a break right now for Passover and Easter. An investigation continues into a fiery crash in Oneida County that left one dead. Authorities say it happened on State Route 12 at the Trenton Road overpass in Deerfield Saturday night. First responders arrived to find a car had gone off the road and burst into flames. The victim, whose name has not yet been released, was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone who saw the crash is asked to come forward. There is a beaver on the lam. The city of Utica, specifically the Utica Zoo, continues to look for a 2-year-old beaver, a male beaver named Cauliflower. The animal was reported missing last Wednesday, prompting a full-scale but non-emergency response from staff and partner agencies. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Utica Zoo. And the state attorney general's office says a buyback event, a gun buyback in Syracuse this weekend, was a huge success. 130 assault rifles were turned in at St. Lucy's Church Saturday, which was more than 3 times the amount collected at a similar event 2 years ago. One of the weapons handed over in exchange for cash, an Uzi submachine gun. A total of 638 guns were collected over a 3-hour period. Officials say those weapons will now be destroyed by state police. A chilly start, cloudy skies, 36 degrees, but a better week ahead. Here's what we can expect. Your forecast on WIBX.
Hate to say it, but we're not done yet with winter. More snowflakes in the forecast Tuesday night, Wednesday. We'll get into that a little bit more in the next day or so. Not too bad this morning. Some clouds this afternoon. Partial sun and mild, low 60s. Tonight we'll drop into the upper 40s with some rain around. Occasional rain Tuesday, 55 with a gusty breeze. Tuesday night to Wednesday, some rain showers, maybe even some scattered snow showers by Wednesday morning. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick. WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Cloudy and 36 at 7:08. All right, in sports, some excitement and redemption at the Masters yesterday. Hello, friends. Rory McIlroy gets his
I think
first.
Jim Nantz had a little cold yesterday.
Well,
you notice he was off a little bit.
You know what I thought was funny is I don't even remember who was putting, but he's talking really low like this because there's a lot of drama that's unfolding. But he was actually 3/4 of a mile away from the golfer, so I don't know why he was whispering because there's no way the guy would have heard him.
He was, because you could hear wherever he was, there was applause near him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are these people applauding? He's about ready to putt. You can't make noise like this. And it's because whoever was around him was making noise. Yeah.
Yes, I'm selling it for the broadcast.
That's right.
Talking slowly to increase the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And there was drama, a playoff hole, in fact. Rory McIlroy gets the victory. He blew a 4-stroke lead only to get it back in a 1-hole playoff with Justin Rose, the first green jacket for Rory. And what is that, the career Grand Slam now? He's got them all. He's got the U.S. Open. He's got the Open Championship, the Masters, the PGA Championship, and the 35-year-old joins names like Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods to win the Masters, PGA Championship, U.S. Open, and Open Championship. The Mets got a win yesterday. They beat up on the A's in Sacramento. 8-0 was the final there. The Yankees dropped the rubber match of their 3-game series in the Bronx. The Nets fall to the Knicks, 113-105. And what else here? The Rangers wrap up their final road trip of the season tonight. They'll be on the road visiting the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. What did I forget?
Interesting tidbit.
Okay.
First time in years that the original 6 in the NHL are not going to be in the playoffs.
None of them?
None of them. It's in your little report there.
Oh, that's interesting. Who's in?
The Rangers are not going to be in.
Yeah.
The Detroit Red Wings, Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins, and there's another team I can't
Flyers.
remember.
The
Blackhawks?
Yep, and the Flyers.
Wow, that's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah, the original 6 for the first time since the league expanded in 1942. All original 6 clubs will miss the playoffs.
Wow.
And the Rangers were coming off having one of the best records last year, and they just see, that's why I don't follow hockey. So,
okay, we have a lot to get to here. Coming up, we'll speak with Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio on the big, beautiful bill. Last night on 60 Minutes, the president, by the way, I'll read some of his tweets on Truth Social. He went ballistic last night after 2 reports on 60 Minutes. And he's calling for CBS to be shut down. He's calling for the FCC to go in, and you do realize that is unconstitutional, right?
Well, he's calling for fines, right?
Oh no, he was saying they should be shut down. Their license should be removed. You're reading from a story. I'll read from the actual tweet from the president. Yeah. Nonetheless, he was upset. You know, you cut him some slack. They were apparently talking to Zelensky, and what was the other story?
One was the Ukrainian war, and the other one was Greenlanders speaking out about becoming part of the U.S.
That is a given. It's very much like Canada, because the president said that making them the 51st state, the Canadians love the idea. Well, there are a few. But the rest of them are rallying around buying Canadian right now and really being angry with the United States. And I think the same thing has happened in Greenland. Although there was a story out that the president was going to pay every person in Greenland like $10,000 in order for them to go for this.
So they actually, did you see that they canned the commanding officer
I
of
did.
Space Force?
She made some negative comments
about Vance. She didn't agree with J.D. Vance, so
gone.
he's out.
Yeah, that was a visit on Saturday, right?
I would say this is getting to be a little bit out of control, but listen, if chaos is what we're looking for, then let's go, because that's where we are going. Just craziness. That's all I can say. But very interesting. That was great. The other story they had that I watched on 60 Minutes was Savannah Banana, the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a joke type thing. They were trying to get minor league team going, and these people the guys were coming out, and then they said, well, we want to do extra things, so you got to be able to dance. There's one kid that was featured on 60 Minutes last night who actually pitches on stilts. Imagine that.
Chuck Luster.
It's like Chuck Luster coming out and pitching from the mound. You think the mound has some height to it. Wait till you see him when he stands up there with his 3-foot stilts on. Nonetheless, they are selling out. They really changed the game of baseball. Do you know if you walk someone, the runner can run until every single person on the defense has touched the ball.
Really?
Yes.
That's
then
interesting.
they can get you out. And they said what they have found that since they've been changing the rules like this and making it quote unquote fun and moving, it is. Oh, and if you bunt, you're automatically out. No bunting. Okay. If you bunt, you're automatically out. Since they've been doing this, people are not leaving till the end. Now, you'd say, well, what kind of draw are these guys doing? They're coming in, they're playing. It's kind of like a Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
They're selling out Major League Baseball stadiums. In fact, they have 6 NFL stadiums this year on their schedule, and they have sold out. It's unbelievable. If you get a chance to go back and watch that, it'll be much less serious and much less stressful than watching the story on Ukraine.
Yeah.
It was last year or 2 years ago. They were at
Cooperstown.
Cooperstown and Syracuse, I think.
Yeah.
And
sold out in both of those places.
There's something they do too where they get the umpires dancing during a bet.
The umpires are a part of it. Sometimes when the umpire calls an out, he might do a flip, it's all, everybody's in on it. And it's real, it's selling.
I feel like the circus is coming to town.
It is kind of like that.
I don't know.
It is kind of like that.
I don't know.
And then one more thing, I was mentioning my conversation with Anthony Constantino, and then he built the statue, and he said President Trump loves it. The reports that were coming out are a little different than what he's describing. Nonetheless, he's also been going after one of the other candidates who was in the NY21, Liz Joy, who was one of those that may have been considered one of the favorites, the possibility of her stepping in for Elise Stefanik. She has now filed a notice of claim against Anthony Constantino, and I'm looking at it right now, and it is a cease and desist, reminding him that Liz Joy is no longer a candidate for office, and she is a private citizen, and if you continue to disparage her, she's going to sue your ass. And that, in a nutshell, is what the cease and desist said from her attorney.
No joy.
So no joy there. No joy there. We have a lot more to get to. Stand by. 7:15 at WIBX. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning is worth, Davey, a whopping
$100.
$100 today, so you get a chance at a C-note. Anybody know the 6 songs in the medley? Temptations, 4 Tops? You got to know, Tim.
3.
You know 3 of them.
You're gonna have to slow it down.
Are you kidding me?
There is no way.
Are you kidding me? You know there's some genius out there that's going to be like, I know every single one. Can I give a clue?
Sure.
Do you know the first song?
Yes.
What is you can just tell me what's the first song.
Play it again because it's
Okay. Do you know the first and second song?
No.
Okay, but you know the first. Ready? Yeah. Listen.
I know one of the. I'll tell you what one of the songs is.
Okay.
My Girl.
One of them is Hey, Hey, Hey. You got it right. One of them is My Girl.
My Girl.
That is true. Hey, hey, hey.
So I think there's the beat from one song bleeds into the beat of another song.
Oh, Manansky, who knows nothing about music, actually unsolves the big mystery.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I hope I just won someone's
channeling Freddie.
Which one are you talking? Yes, channeling Freddie. Which one are you talking about?
The first 2.
You are absolutely correct.
I
the
am.
First song is not 1, it's 2.
Yeah.
Oh. And to me, it's obvious. And listen to it again now. But remember, that first second and a half is two. Now, they're not overlapping.
No.
They're not overlapping. Listen. Did you hear that? Yeah, I'm going to ask you. I can't believe you got that. One more time. Listen. The other thing I'll tell you is none of these songs included by the Four Tops or the Temptations is obscure.
Yeah,
none are obscure. They're all hits. So if you want to take a stab, 315-736-0186. And I think the first person should, if they choose, get their choice. I have 5 pairs to give away. The first person to nail this is like, well, we have 4 people that want to go. All right, you get the first. So you get your first choice, and then we'll give away everything else. So it's either 2 tickets or 4 tickets or whatever.
Sunshine on a cloudy day.
It came to you. I'm going to play it one more time. Now listen very carefully. The first one will come to you, and it's going to smack you right in the head once you realize it. Here it is. I'm going to work this backwards. I received a message from the Turning Stone, and we were going through a text string. And the final message in the text string between me and them was, yes, but not this hard. You figure out what was said before that. So, yes, but not this hard. I told you to make it hard, but not this hard. I think once you get that first 2, then those first 2 songs, it might be a little easier. Quick break. We'll come right back at WIBX.
Celebrate AmeriQ Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your new or used auto, motorcycle, boat, or recreational vehicle loan. Offer valid for a limited time. Apply today at ameriq.org/loan sale.
Are your tires tough enough for the journey ahead? The Nokian Tires Outpost tire is strong enough for getaways, but comfortable for the daily grind. The Outpost is infused with puncture-resistant fibers, assembled in North America, and covered by a pothole protection warranty. Extend your adventures with the Nokian Tires Outpost.
Find Nokian Tires Outpost tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
The church gives us a peace the world cannot give. Letting go of bitterness and resentment can help us find inner peace. The sacrament of reconciliation and the grace the sacrament provides may help us to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and enjoy a peace we may not have known for years. What a gift! On April 14th, Catholic churches throughout the diocese will be open for the Sacrament of Reconciliation. The light is on for you. Come home for Easter and celebrate the joy of the risen Christ.
Don't miss Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event. We're giving you the best deals of the season on all of our inventory. Thousands of used and new equipment in stock, all in one location. Get 0% financing on new Ferris commercial mowers, Massey Ferguson, and New Holland equipment, and trailers and used equipment as low as 5.49%. Restrictions apply. We're giving you the best deals of the season. It's Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
The cost of everything is up these days, and let's face it, you've been dreaming of a nice payday. Well, your prayers are being answered with Win Keeler's Cash. Win Keeler's Cash is back, and we're giving away even more money every weekday at the top of the hour, every hour from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Listen for the cash code and enter it on WIBX950.com. Every entry brings you closer to winning the $1,000 daily prize and puts you in the running to be a $10,000 lucky winner. Win Keeler's Cash on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
Well, good morning. Good morning. In studio today is, give a nice round of applause, Davey, if you would, for Jeff Banansky.
Yay!
And the one and only, we call him now business consultant. You have your hands in a lot of stuff.
I do.
As a business consultant. And one of the originators of, the founders of Real Men Get Tested for Cancer.
Yes.
Tim Reed. Good morning, Tim Reed.
Good morning. Prostate Cancer Awareness Month.
It is this month?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. We deserve a month.
Everybody knows me.
Everyone's got a month.
Yeah. I'm,
Everybody knows you and everybody knows me.
Did you know, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. And before you get your, what are they, PCR? Is it PCR?
No.
What is it?
PSA?
PSA test.
Yeah.
Sorry. Before you get your PSA test, my doctor, and I don't want to give it any TS for me to stop mentioning his name on the radio.
I had him on Friday.
Did he say?
Yeah, I said, Bill's going to keep mentioning your name. He goes, he gave me that. No, please, Tim, tell him not to.
He said, I am all booked up. I do not have room for any more
Thank
patients.
you very much.
Anyway, he says, so I'm getting my PSA test done at the problem with prostate cancer is a very good chance that at some point in your life, if you're a male, you're gonna get it, right? That is and you may get it to a point where it's slow moving.
What's a very good chance?
A very good chance. By the time you die.
You know, like 70% of the guys, 80%?
I don't know what the number is, but I think it's high.
Yeah, it's
Higher
very
than
high.
that.
But the issue is that the question is, at a certain age, they'll make the decision that you're gonna
outlive
age
it.
out. You're gonna
Yeah.
age out before this thing gets you because
Yeah.
it's pretty slow moving.
But-
But
Okay.
probably by the time you get up in your like 80s or whatever, there's probably 70 or
Chances
80%
are, yeah.
chance.
And they may say to you, we're not going to do anything because it's slow
Yeah.
moving. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You'll be long gone before this thing ever affects you.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. Anyway, do you know that to have your PSA test, you used to know sexual activity, or as my doctor refers to it, as hanky-panky. Honest to God.
That's a time change to the Shondell.
He said, no, that is right. My baby does the
That's the
hanky-panky.
hanky-panky.
No hanky-panky for 48 hours before you take the test. He said to me that when I was in there last week, he said, you do know that the rules have changed. No hanky-panky for 3 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's what she said.
She said
3 weeks. No.
And Allison called him before? Or
and then-
what's going on?
And then he reminded me that's with someone or without.
Oh, my Lord. Well,
So that was fun.
that was nice.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have to put that down on my calendar, I think. So,
Oh, boy.
as my wife's famous line was, well, that won't affect me. That's what she said. Anyway, 3 weeks now.
Wow.
Because they're saying that by having that relationship,
You're aggravating things.
you
Stirring
may
things
end up
up.
with a positive test.
Yeah.
And get a false positive. So no hanky-panky for 3 weeks before. That's what I've been told. There are some new businesses that I wanted to mention that I think are very interesting. Friday, I was at the Good Feet store. And hold on, I've got some paperwork on this that I can talk about. But I think it was very interesting. They do a whole thing about relieving the pain in your back and in your knees and in your shoulders and all that stuff. And they use inserts.
Yeah.
And they measure you in the whole 9 yards. I'm going through that. Anyway, it's located at 4630 Commercial Drive in New Hartford. You can check it out. It's a 3-step system. They will fit right into your regular shoes. And it could very well change your world when it comes to lower back pain, maybe sciatica, some of these other things that you may have in terms of pain. That's a new store, the Good Feet store, and it's located at 4630 Commercial Drive in New Hartford. That's number one. Number two, I will save for number three. So 3 I'll save for third. There are 3.
You save it for third.
Number 2 is...
Do that 1 second.
I think this is another... They're going to be a sponsor here coming up also. Mohawk Valley Manufacturing, located in Rome on East Dominic Street. They have purchased a smaller cement truck, a European style. In Europe, everything is smaller. When you see a cement truck going down the road in Europe, it's small because it's got to fit in the lanes, and whereas our cement trucks are enormous, right? So when you order let's say you have a sidewalk in the front of your house, and you want cement. There's normally, I'm sure you've done cement work. It's like an 8-yard minimum,
and then they got to dump it if they don't.
And they got to dump it if you don't use it all. They got to dump it somewhere. So you find they'll put it on. They may be dumping it on your property,
someone else's property.
You can cut a deal with someone else. You might want to do that. Anyway, what they've done at Mohawk Valley Manufacturing is they have purchased this small cement truck, and they make their own cement, which is top of the line cement. So you could order simply 1 yard.
Wow.
You could order 3 yards. I think the maximum on the truck is 4. You could get 4, you could end up with 12 yards by using them. And the truck is smaller, so it fits into the areas and it's carrying less cement, so it won't destroy your driveway. It won't destroy your property when you can kind of back it in to an area that's much smaller. So if you're just doing a sidewalk, you don't need 7 yards of concrete.
Yep.
It's called Mohawk Valley Manufacturing. And if you're interested and you have a project you're working on, it's 315-748-5886 is the number. Mohawk Valley Manufacturing. And there's no minimum on the concrete. I think that's really cool. And then there was one other that I wanted to talk about, and it is down the street from us at the old Pelosi Mazda. Yeah. And Davey, you were just there, and it is the pinball place.
Yeah, Two Cousins Pinball. Rondo and I went Saturday night. It was awesome.
So
they got over 40 games.
They have a room. So this is the old Pelosi. So the building is large, and they have a food area where you can get drinks and you can get pizza and that sort of thing. And then you go in, and there's 30 maybe.
I say 30
pinball
to 35
machines?
pinball machines.
And some of them are rare.
Yes, they got one from 1970.
Yes, some are rare like that, and others are rare. Like there's a Kiss one, which is really huge.
I played the AC/DC one. Boy,
the AC/DC
awesome.
one.
And then I played the Monsters.
You never really realize until you really look at a pinball machine, the intricacy, the all of the work that goes into making these things, just so incredible.
Yeah.
They're amazing. And by the way, each one of these, I don't know, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. It's unbelievable. So you can go in and set a party. So let's say on a Saturday night they have open hours. You can check their website, and you'd say, okay, we're got a group of 10 people. We're all going celebrating a birthday party, or just going to as a couple. However you want to do it. You had a pinball machine as a kid.
I did. So think about this. This was back in the early 60s, and we got it from a neighbor, whatever it was, and it was a box. They had a little boxing ring up on the thing, and the two guys were boxing. But I was telling Jeff there was a live wire on one side. Every once in a while, if you hit one of the flippers, it'd give you a little "how do you do?"
You get a little shock.
Yeah.
Which is why they got rid of it.
New friend would come over. I'd go, "Oh yeah, let's play the pinball machine."
That's funny.
See how long before you get whacked.
So this is Two Cousins Pinball. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, and they're only open on Thursdays from 5:30 to 9:30, and Saturdays from 3 until 10 for right now.
So you could do a birthday party, or a work retreat. You want to get away and get everybody, working together and that sort of thing. And every one of these is either brand new or an antique. It's really quite incredible.
Yeah, it's an incredible place to try out.
Yeah. And you had a blast, right?
Sure did.
Yeah, okay. It's a big, beautiful pinball place, just like the big, beautiful Bill that we're going to talk about here. And Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Are you a pinball guy? Do you play pinball?
Well, I was, you don't want to hear me talk right now. I was going to be like, oh, we have so much to get to, so much baseball, so much one big beautiful bill, so much politics, and you guys are over here talking about pinball.
What in the hell is going on? Listen, let me tell you, I thought McElroy was playing pinball last night. Like, what are you doing? How did you miss that pot?
Mm-hmm. It was wild.
It was a rip, but yet from the fans' perspective, what a great one. That was awesome.
The Masters, yeah.
Yes,
great for the sport.
It was something, and then the big beautiful bill. Actually, the big beautiful text or it was a tweet, if you will, from Truth Social from the president wanting to revoke the license of CBS after last night's 60 Minutes. I don't know if you saw any of that.
No, I haven't seen that. No,
you gotta check that out.
Keep up.
You got to check that out, and then of course there is the big beautiful bill. And where do we stand on this right now, Ryan?
Yeah, so it passed both chambers, the framework, so now they can begin the actual budget reconciliation process. And so you're looking at $300 billion in border and national security. You've got $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, as well as $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. At least that's where the goal is, and that's probably where the dynamic's going to be, which is what tax cuts are going to be included? Because you could say $4.5 trillion over 10 years is a lot, but then next thing you know, when you have a plan ambitious as Donald Trump's, only so much of that's going to get in there in terms of his tax policy. So then you also add in, the fact that there's going to be a push for spending cuts there. And there's been a number of New York Republicans who have said, we're not going to vote for anything that cuts Medicaid. So can they actually get that done? Can they get $1.5 trillion without getting into essential services?
I don't know how this is going to – I don't know how it gets done, because you do have there are Republicans who are very nervous with the midterms looming in the short distance. And, boy, Medicare is a real problem.
And Medicare, Medicaid, these are all things that are going to be closely watched. I mean, this has been Democrats' messaging from the start, is that there's no way they're going to be able to find what they're looking for without cutting these programs.
Yeah,
so,
this is, yes,
And we have moderate members saying we're not going to vote for anything that cuts these programs. That's going to make it a challenge, too.
Mm-hmm. So even all these cuts that Elon Musk has been doing, you're cutting people, you're 100 people here, 1,000 people here, these jobs that are being cut. It works out to be under 2% of really the problem. The only way you can really balance a budget, probably, the only way you're really going to be able to make significant cuts is these legacy programs like Social Security and Medicare.
And that has been a talk for a very long time, that the thought is that there are only three ways, there's a lot of ways you can do it, but if you really want to make a dent in the national debt, you're going to have to go after taxes, you're going to have to go after entitlement programs, and you're going to have to go after the military, which are probably three places that
no one wants to touch.
Politicians don't like to touch. Not saying never, there's not other ways to do it, but that's been the long time consensus of the three things you got to touch in order to truly make a difference in terms of our financial structure and the national debt we have.
What is the timeline? What are we looking at in terms of timeline for this?
Speaker Johnson wants to have this process done by Memorial Day. It's not completely unrealistic. It's just going to be very challenging for them to get that done this quickly.
Yeah. All right, interesting stuff there, Ryan, and you're right. What a weekend for sports. Holy moly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you have a great day. Thanks so much.
You too, my friend. Thank you.
Have a good day. It's funny. All this stuff going on in sports, and you guys are talking about pinball. What the hell's going on here? Davey, I do have somebody asking, was the Terminator pinball machine, was there a Terminator pinball machine there?
I don't remember.
It's funny because when I talk to the owners, they're like,
Kevin?
we're looking for this one. We're looking for this. If you ever were to hear somebody has this one, it's rare to find. And one of them on the rare list and valuable list is the Terminator pinball machine. So it's crazy. You seem to have no interest in pinball.
Well, so it was a little.
You have a son. This could be a real opportunity.
Yeah. No, I don't mean to come off that I have no interest in it, but so most of the arcade games I played growing up were more of the video game type. The pinball machine maybe was the generation just before me.
But
like
they
cousins
do
and stuff. Not that I'd never played pinball before.
If you had the if you were alive, and I know you weren't, at the time when you could go to the movies at the mall and they had the big game room, the arcade at the mall, they were filled with pinball machines.
Yep. But they do have an arcade machine with Miss Pac-Man.
They do.
Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and all them. That Dig Dug, Frogger. I played like for 20 minutes on that machine.
This had to be like, for Davey, this had to be like
Nirvana.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm more of an arcade, like NBA Jam, maybe a little WWF WrestleMania.
And they have some of that stuff. There's a pool table there, and there's other stuff that you can do as well.
Mortal Kombat.
But the pinball machines are pristine and major collector's items. I mean, I couldn't even imagine how much investment there is inside that building.
And you had an Elvira one. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You ever have an issue with your car and they're like, oh, it's the whatever sensor, right? And they got a billion sensors. Like, I can't imagine the fact that these machines are so old, have so many working parts on them and lights for them to be able to maintain them has got to be incredible. No, I think it's very impressive. I just don't have any good stories about it.
All these little unique things. If you hit this so many times, you reach the level that no one knows about. Is kind of a secret level, and the real players would know. And how do you hit that? Well, you got to do a certain. It's really quite incredible.
But like the very old ones. I mean, it's probably the same thing what you guys dealt with radio. With the old analog. The wiring and all the stuff that's in those or whatever it is incredible. The old ones.
Yeah.
Well, and then you look at what we have, brand new stuff.
It just doesn't work.
Listen, if I breathe heavy on this, I'm gonna fire a commercial break. All right, Davey, we're gonna do Habaika's. I want to skip news. We'll do Habaika's free money question of the day. It is worth $100, and we're looking for caller number 5. Let's say 315-736-0186. Call right now, caller number 5, and your chance to win from Habaika and WIBX. Coming up, we'll talk about Fortune Magazine and a story they did about this area, about Utica, from 1949. It's a really cool story. And then you want to pipe in on any of what we've been talking about. 315-736-0186. Caller 5 right now. And Sarah's Flooring Outlet has the area's largest flooring inventory. And the best service, the best prices, and that includes their guarantee of the lowest price on Revwood by Mohawk. The U.S. made here in the United States, American-made Revwood. It is a prime, pristine product. Revwood flooring from Mohawk has premium hardwood visuals, maximum scratch protection, and is fade-resistant. Exceptional durability, and you can save at Sarah's because there you get the absolute lowest price. Sal has the biggest inventory. There's stuff there that you can't find anywhere else. You can look at them online at any time at sarahsflooringoutlet.com or call them today and see why more people buy from the big store. And of course, they're right down the street from us. Route 49 Plaza, River Road in Marcy, and online at sarahsflooringoutlet.com.
It's time for Tucker Backyard Pools and Spa's annual chemical sale. It's our biggest savings of the year.
Now through April 30th. Stop by our one-of-a-kind showroom located at 8086 Seneca Turnpike and save 15% on all in-stock pool and spa chemicals. It's the biggest savings of the year when it comes to your pool and spa chemicals. Now through April 30th. Don't have a pool or spa? Let us help complete your buying experience with our fully functional pool and spa display. Or use our interactive showroom and design the pool or spa of your dreams. Interact, design, review, and save with Tucker Backyard. Come visit us now till the end of April for our annual chemical sale with 15% off chemicals in stock.
It's our biggest savings of the year.
15% off chemicals in stock.
It's time for Tucker Backyard Pools and Spa's annual chemical sale.
Now through April 30th, we bring the fun to your backyard. Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas, 8086 Seneca Turnpike, Clinton, 1 mile west from the Big Apple Plaza. Online at tuckerbackyard.com.
Hi everyone, it's Lisa from Fit Body Bootcamp. Have you been feeling a little stressed lately? Well, my friends, you are not alone. April is National Stress Awareness Month, and at Fit Body, we help our members de-stress by providing challenging 30-minute fat-burning workouts and exceptional nutrition support to help you boost your mood and help you de-stress. But don't wait, join us today in Clinton or Whitesboro, and let us bring some happiness into your life. Your first 3 sessions are free. See you soon.
Now at Kubota Orange Days, your local Kubota dealer at White's Farm Supply is delivering the savings you need for the life you love. Join us on Saturday, April 26th at our Waterville location for the exclusive deals on America's favorite compact tractors. We'll help you find the perfect match with special Orange Days financing and savings. Don't miss this chance to save on the Kubota you've always wanted. Only at White's Farm Supply in Waterville on Saturday, April 26th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
White's Farm Supply.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, it's time for Hobica's free money question of the day, and it is worth $100 from the Hobica Law Firm. Joseph and Andrew Hobica, for all of your legal needs, call them at 315-724-1600, the Hobica Law Firm. And our contestant here to play along is Wayne in Utica. Hello, Wayne. Good morning.
Hey, guys.
So are you ready to go? Are you ready here? This is a big opportunity.
I'm ready.
You know, you'll have 7 seconds to answer the question. And
how am I going to be able to look it up?
How will you be able to look it up? I have a very good question here, and I'm going to give you your choice. Do you want A or B? A.
Right, hold on one second. Siri, get ready. No.
That's right. Get ready, Siri.
Yeah.
Here we go. Get ready, AI. Get ready. You want A or B?
Do A.
Okay, I'm going to give you A. All right, here is your question. You'll have 7 seconds to answer the question, and it kind of fits in with where we are coming up on Easter and Mother's Day as well. So here is your question. Which sample chocolate company launched the heart-shaped box? Which sample chocolate company launched the heart-shaped box? Ready, go.
Cadbury?
Is it going to be Cadbury? Is it Cadbury? No. Let's go to Mr. Reed over here.
It's either Russell Stover or Whitner, I think.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking of them lines.
Whitman's. Yeah.
Was it Fannie Farmer, Bill?
God, that's
Fannie Farmer. The correct answer was Whitman's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Whitman's.
You gave me the clue, too, the sampler, Whitman sampler.
I did. Yeah. In fact, they are the first company to use chocolate sampler. Actually, they are the first company. They were before Russell Stover.
Yeah. That was a dead giveaway.
It was. I was trying to,
Damn it.
Let's not make it too obvious, Wayne, because Michael will get a little angry. Yeah.
I used to eat those when I was playing pinball.
And I've always wondered why do they put in the candies that we don't like?
Yeah.
And then I found one day there are people out there that prefer
the jellies?
the purple cream or pistachio and all this other stuff.
So often you're going to run into somebody who likes a circus peanut.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And the bonbons, I believe they were the first to do the bonbons. Yeah. You can tell
that play pinball.
Or the people that play pinball. You can tell what we were watching on the History Channel yesterday. It was a story about a whole show about chocolate. And
we used to stick our hand in the bottom of it, and you could check out which ones were the bad ones and put them back for your brother or sister.
Right, stick a little hole in the bottom.
Oh, that's a caramel. I'm taking that one. That's a jelly. Let's leave that for someone else.
It's funny, but I was from Mohawk. I did the exact same thing, but never thought to do it at the bottom. Always did it right on the top, so you got caught.
Got a camouflage.
I always got caught. Okay, Wayne, we'll give you the $25 food and fun card. All right. And It's a $25 card, good at Babes or Taylor and the Cook, Aquavino, The Odd, Nexus. You have your choice.
Can I say something about the pinball?
Yes, please.
All right, the pinball, I remember when I used to go, there always was a couple people there that used to get mad at the game and throw their body weight, their knees, lift up the machine, slam it. Now, what does this guy do to them? Does he eject them from the place?
I believe they're beaten.
Yeah. $30,000 games. And these guys are like,
you can't. There's no room for, right, you must respect the machines.
Do you remember them? Do you remember the people who used to get mad at, I mean, there's grown men that get mad at their games and break them now.
They put their fist into it or something. You can't do that stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
That's how they ended up broken.
Yeah. Do you have to sign anything, Davey, when you go in? Nothing. You just know.
They have a whole bunch of rules that they have as soon as you walk in. They tell you to respect the games.
Is one of them common sense?
Yeah.
Common sense would be nice. That's very hard to find these days. And the other thing is something to think about is it is not a place for kids to go running around. And it's not what this is. Mostly everybody there is an adult. Now, you could bring your kid.
Setting their coffee on it.
You can't be setting your drink. They do have cup holders, right? Yeah. So, all right, pretty cool.
Later, guys.
Okay,
Have a good day,
Wayne,
and thank you.
stand by. Davey's going to hook you up. Can you talk a little bit about this story here from Fortune magazine?
Yeah, so this is from Fortune magazine in 1949. So think about it. This was, 76 years ago?
Yeah.
So what it was about was basically when Utica was going through some, believe it or not, some hard times.
It's funny because every time I look at history, like stories in the newspaper about Utica history, and you go back, Utica's always having hard times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what it was basically this group of business guys who used to meet at the club. And the club at that point in time was the Fort Schuyler Club.
Mm-hmm.
Italians, please don't show up. And
that is true, right?
Well, Rufy's mentioned in this as being his own separate kind of powerhouse or whatever it was. But these business people who got together and threw together a pot of money and managed to get Chicago Pneumatic to move to Utica.
Wow.
Which was huge. But, it's a who's who. It's FX Matt's father.
Okay.
John Train, who started Utica National. There was a Balch who was with Horace Ibbotson. Now, Horace Ibbotson was a big fishing rod manufacturer. They were located on Genesee Street, down kind of near where PJ Green is. Wow. All these guys, the Murrays. Now, the Murrays were actually partners with my grandfather back in the Utica Radiator days, Bill Murray. And all these people, they kind of got together for the common good of the community to bring this business in. It's amazing. I mean, there was no government money or anything like that or whatever it was what can we do for the greater good of the city of Utica?
You know what I find interesting out of this? So this photo here, this photo is looking down Genesee, right?
Yep.
So there have been a lot of changes. So it is the triangle.
The triangle. Where the triangle.
Which goes left to which is where the parking garage is now by the Y.
Yeah.
That used to be a main thoroughfare.
Correct.
And it is no longer, right? The parking garage went in there and the city hall moved over into that general vicinity over there. But as you look very carefully and you look down, do you notice what you see? You see Hotel Utica.
Yeah.
And you see the billboard on Hotel Utica. Jeff, what were the call letters of WIBX before it became WIBX?
Oh, you're not even going to throw money at me for this one? Oh.
There is a billboard. This is from 1949.
I know this.
And it's WGAT.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Well, I don't know if that was IBX or not.
I don't know.
But it is a billboard for a radio station.
AM.
And
IBX,
no
FM.
Our IBX was at Hotel Utica. That's where the station got its start.
I'm looking it up now. 1925 WIBX Okay, so no, it was always IBX. We changed it on the number on the dial.
Okay, it was always IBX?
It's right here. I pulled up.
Look up WGAT because there's a WGAT in the...
WIBX was first licensed in 1925 and began broadcasting. All right, WGAT.
This is our 100th year, so we should know this. So it'd be WGAT Utica.
WGAT Utica.
I believe that's a G. Anyway, it's on Hotel Utica, which is where IBX first got its start, but it was on a different frequency.
It's radio station. I don't know. It keeps, when I put in WGAT, it keeps telling me what, like I have a typo.
I like that. That's good. Anyway, it is very interesting. Now you think about how we bring businesses in today.
Yeah.
And really we're in another area of reinvention. Back then it was post World War II and there was a big reinvention of the area.
Right. I mean, many people say 45 to 50 was kind of the golden age of America because at that point in time we won World War II. 1950 we got into the Korean War. The Soviets figured out the atomic bomb. We were the only ones with the atomic weapons. It was really kind of the Ozzie and Harriet, everything's wonderful days or whatever. And then we discovered Vietnam and everything went to hell in a handbasket.
And that's where now once you get into the 70s. By then, Utica is having a really rough time. We're beginning to lose population. Mm-hmm. But back then, you were talking over 100,000 people in the 50s in Utica.
So what you talked about all these business owners coming together to bring Chicago Pneumatic here.
Right.
What did they do? You talked about like how the government, they weren't throwing tax incentives and all these things like we see today. What did they do to lure them here? What did they offer?
They raised money, basically. Individual cash in regards to it to kind of lure these guys in. They went
very similar to what's done today, but just done differently.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't done by the government. It was okay.
But when you think about it, it may have had government money, but at the same time, very much like the hospital. Think about how much private money had to be raised in order to build the hospital.
And back those days, the textile mills were. Well, the textile mills, I think probably by that time were starting to actually go down because they all went to the South because of cheap labor and cheap water, really, is what they kind of needed or whatever it was. So they were trying to figure out how are we, we've got this industrial base, but it's starting to slowly slip away from us. How do we keep things going?
That was really the beginning.
Yeah.
And then with computers, it was a group of Utica guys who got together and created MDS down in Herkimer, which was we were like
UNIVAC. A lot of stuff that really was the beginning.
The computer world moved on, and we didn't. We stayed with the punch cards. And that just didn't seem to... Steve Jobs didn't want to use the punch cards. No. I don't know why. Anyway, great stuff. And you can look it up. Is it available online? I imagine
I don't
you can
know.
Find it.
I would think.
Fortune magazine on Utica, New York from 1949. Pretty wild. Let me tell you about Herkimer County back in those MDS days. It was quite a hopping little... It was like Tech Valley in the day. Today, there's much going on in Herkimer County. It's where history, commerce, and beauty collide. And if you have an event that you'd like to promote, you can do so on their website, which promotes events in Herkimer County, herkimercountyny.gov/events. And there is so much going on. One of the events that's coming up will be happening at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds a week from this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the Herkimer County Outdoor Showcase, which will be everything outdoors. Anything you can think of, RVs and boats and campers and all of that stuff. It's all happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend, not this weekend, at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. We'll kick off the show season, if you will, in Herkimer County. Again, where history, commerce, and beauty collide, it is happening in Herkimer County. And the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford, Seattle's best coffee in the drive-thru. In and out, it is lightning fast. You can try their iced coffee and their amazing cold brew coffee. Everything is made fresh there every morning. And there's the egg white frittata. What a great breakfast sandwich. It's egg white, spinach, tomato, and feta cheese on a croissant, bagel, or English muffin. And at Daylight Donuts, order this week snowflake rolls for your Easter dinner. It's Easter weekend this weekend. Order your snowflake rolls at Daylight Donuts in New Hartford.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow by New Nordic. Millions of men and women around the world trust Hair Grow. With its patented tocotrienol complex, Hair Grow naturally reduces inflammation in the scalp and is clinically proven to promote new hair growth and increase hair count in as little as 4 months. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Country rock trailblazer, Brantley Gilbert, the Tattoos Tour 2025. Adirondack Bank Center, Friday, April 25th, with special guests Travis Denning and Peyton Smith. Get tickets now at EmpireStateTix.com. The brand new album Tattoos is available everywhere. For more, visit BrantleyGilbert.com. Produced by Pepper Entertainment.
Contractors and landscapers, be able to take on more jobs and get your current projects done with Warner Sales and Service. Whether it's the tough lifting and digging or the more precise work with attachments, Warner Sales and Service has the Bobcat rental to make sure your projects get done. Tough work demands tough equipment, so stop in today at Warner Sales and Service, just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona, and at WarnerSS.com.
Where quality still counts at Warner.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Fueled by hate. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The man accused of setting fire to the official Pennsylvania governor's residence says he would have beaten Governor Josh Shapiro with a hammer if he'd seen him. 38-year-old Cody Ballmer tells police after turning himself in that he set the fire with gasoline and beer bottles after walking about an hour from his home in Harrisburg.
The governor now thanking officers for waking him up and responding quickly to save him and save his family. Police believe the man scaled an iron security fence, the suspect that is, in the middle of the night to elude police and break into this home in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Moments before it happened, Shapiro, who is Jewish, posted this message on X, wishing everyone a happy Passover.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Governor Shapiro says he will not be deterred from his faith or doing his job. President Trump says he'll announce this week a new tariff on chips and semiconductors for electronics.
We want to make our chips and semiconductors and other things in our country.
He says he's also planning tariffs on prescription drug imports. 6 people killed in a small plane crash in Copenhagen, New York, are identified as 2 surgeons, one of them flying the plane, 2 of their children, and their partners. National Transportation Safety Board investigator Albert Nixon says an air traffic controller tried to warn the pilot he was too low.
Unfortunately, he was unsuccessful. There was no response from the pilot.
A New York City helicopter company, meantime, shuts down 3 days after a fatal crash.
The FAA made the call to ground all flights as investigators dig deeper into what went wrong, launching an immediate review of the tour operator's license and safety record. 6 people, including a family visiting from Spain and their pilot, a Navy vet, were all killed. Senator Chuck Schumer is now pushing for tougher rules, saying some tour companies are cutting corners.
Fox's Ted Linder. Rory McIlroy wins his first Masters golf tournament, beating Justin Rose in a playoff hole, making him the 6th player to win a career Grand Slam, the Masters, U.S. Open, PGA Open, and Open Championship. He's the first European golfer to do it. America's listening to Fox News.
The children of our nation know little to nothing about 9/11.
But the Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute is righting this wrong by helping teachers educate kids in kindergarten through 12th grade. Their nonfiction first-person accounts are told through videos and the Discovering Heroes book series. The Institute offers full scripted curriculum units with background for teachers, a speakers bureau for classrooms, a mobile exhibit that's an interactive museum with 9/11 artifacts and FDNY guides. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry. Terry, Terry. Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
President Trump meets with El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele today at the White House. He's an ally in the administration's fight against illegal immigration, holding hundreds of alleged gang members at a mega prison. The Pentagon removes a Greenland base commander accused of undermining Vice President J.D. Vance.
Space Operations Command says Colonel Susan Myers was removed from her leadership post at a Greenland Space Force base for loss of confidence in her ability to lead. Her removal follows a visit from Vice President Vance, who accused Denmark of failing the people of Greenland and said they would be safer under U.S. rule. Myers explaining in a statement the concerns of the U.S. administration discussed by Vice President Vance are not reflective of the base. The Pentagon responding, actions to undermine the chain of command or subvert President Trump's agenda will not be tolerated. President Trump has said he wants to annex Greenland for national security purposes. Greenland's leadership has repeatedly said it's not for sale. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Next round of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks is reportedly planned now for next Saturday in Rome. Oman hosted the first round of talks this past Saturday. Waymo's autonomous cars are heading east.
Driverless car company Waymo will begin testing its tech in Japan next week. It's the first international trial for Waymo, owned by Google's parent corporation Alphabet. The company is referring to the event as a road trip as they attempt to learn about the nuances of driving in Japanese traffic, which is different from American traffic. For instance, they drive on the left side of the street. 25 cars will be deployed, and they will not be driving themselves. They'll be operated by drivers in Tokyo, where some cars have already been spotted. But Waymo says the plan is to eventually bring its autonomous taxi service to Japan. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A constitutional amendment in Hungary is close to being passed that would ban public LGBTQ events like an annual Pride March in Budapest attended by thousands of people. I'm Chris Foster. This is Fox News.
Mostly cloudy skies, 34 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. Well, state lawmakers not in Albany today, although they still don't have a budget in place. No new talks expected to take place until tomorrow. The state budget director says policy issues are still the main holdup in discussions between lawmakers and Governor Hochul. A budget extender was passed last week that would keep the state running through tomorrow, which is when the legislature is set to return. They were originally supposed to be on a 2-week break in recognition of Passover and Easter. An investigation continues into what caused a fiery crash in Oneida County over the weekend that killed one. Authorities say it happened on State Route 12 at the Trenton Road overpass in Deerfield on Saturday night. First responders arrived to find a car had gone off the road and become engulfed in flames. The victim, whose name has not yet been released, passed away at the scene. Anyone who saw the crash is asked to come forward. WKTV reporting an Oneida County Sheriff's deputy has been placed on leave after an early morning fire last Wednesday on Kellogg Ave in Utica. According to an extreme risk order of protection application filed in Oneida County Court, the site says Deputy Aaron Alshaman had a relationship with one of the residents at that home and is considered to be a person of interest. Those documents also said the deputy was on duty at the time the fire started, and an automatic vehicle location data showed his patrol car was near the home when that fire started. The sheriff's office says the deputy is on paid administrative leave for now as a result. And local gas prices down a little bit, according to AAA, which has a composite average. The average cost right now for a gallon of fuel in our market, $3.09. That's down a penny from last week, 2 cents over the past month. AAA says the statewide average is at $3.10. The national average is at $3.19. I think I saw over the weekend a couple places where I usually go, we're up still around $3.30, $3.19, something like that. There's a few places you can find like $2.90 around
exactly.
here.
Yep.
Depends on, I guess, who they're competing with, how close the next station is. Chilly start, although we're going to be pushing 60 today, allegedly. Here's full details in the forecast from Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic.
Hate to say it, but we're not done yet with winter. More snowflakes in the forecast Tuesday night, Wednesday. We'll get into that a little bit more in the next day or so. Not too bad this morning. Some clouds this afternoon. Partial sun and mild, low 60s. Tonight we'll drop into the upper 40s with some rain around. Occasional rain Tuesday, 55 with a gusty breeze. Tuesday night to Wednesday, some rain showers, maybe even some scattered snow showers by Wednesday morning. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Cloudy skies, 34 degrees at 8:08. Hello, friends. History was made at the Masters this weekend. At Augusta, Rory McIlroy wins the Masters, becoming the 6th player in history to complete the Grand Slam. He defeated Justin Rose in a one-hole playoff to capture his first career green jacket. The 35-year-old joins the likes of Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Tiger Woods, and others to win the Masters, the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. Kyle Larson cruised to victory in Bristol on Sunday. The driver of the number 5 took home the checkered flag at the Food City 500 by more than 2 seconds. Local baseball action. The Mets get a win in Sacramento, taking down the A's. The final on Sunday was 8-0. The Mets lead the NL East. They visit the Twins for a 3-game set that begins tonight in Minneapolis. The Yankees dropped their rubber match against the Giants on Sunday. 5-4 was the final. Carlos Rodon charged with a loss, allowing 4 runs over 5+ innings. The WNBA draft tips off tonight. The 3-round draft takes place from New York City with Commissioner Kathy Engelbert announcing the selections. And Smitty, what did I miss? Did I miss anything, Smitty? The Chicago Cubs suffering a major blow to their starting rotation. The team announced Sunday that ace lefty Justin Steele will miss the rest of the season with an elbow injury. He's slated to have surgery later this month. And for the first time, several NHL teams are making unwanted history. For the first time since the league expanded in 1942, none of the original 6 clubs will be making the playoffs this year. WIBX 950 News Time 8:09. More Keeler next on WIBX.
Celebrate Amerique Credit Union's 75th anniversary with an extra 0.75% off your auto and rec loans. Apply today at amerique.org/loan sale.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and service in Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
Hi everyone, it's Lisa from Fit Body Bootcamp. Have you been feeling a little stressed lately? Well, my friends, you are not alone. April is National Stress Awareness Month, and at Fit Body, we help our members de-stress by providing challenging 30-minute fat-burning workouts and exceptional nutrition support to help you boost your mood and help you de-stress. But don't wait, join us today in Clinton or Whitesboro, and let us bring some happiness into your life. Your first 3 sessions are free. See you soon.
The church gives us a peace the world cannot give. Letting go of bitterness and resentment can help us find inner peace. The sacrament of reconciliation and the grace the sacrament provides may help us to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and enjoy a peace we may not have known for years. What a gift! On April 14th, Catholic churches throughout the diocese will be open for the sacrament of reconciliation. The light is on for you. Come home for Easter and celebrate the joy of the risen Christ.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Stop putting off registering for the 2025 Boilermaker Road Race because it's almost sold out. People are sprinting to Boilermaker.com to grab their racing bibs before they're gone. Reserve your spot at the starting line now and punch your ticket to the world's best post-race party, where there will be live music, drinks, food, and plenty of surprises. This year's Boilermaker will be bigger and better than ever, but the window to sign up is closing. So run, don't walk, to Boilermaker.com and sign up for one of America's most famous races. See you at the starting line, July 13th.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
It's only money, Tim. I mean, it's only money, right? I mean, what's the big deal? We can stop this now. Okay, there we go.
There you are.
All right, it's Tim Reed is in this morning, and we have a couple things we're going to be getting to here. Hamilton College is doing their Common Ground series, which I love, and they're bringing in 3 people to discuss, all on different sides, some in the middle, one to the left, one to the right. The demise of race-conscious admissions, the Supreme Court's 2023 decision on affirmative action. And we'll be speaking with Heather McDonald, who is a Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, a contributing editor of City Journal, the New York Times bestselling author of The War on Cops. It'll be interesting. I want to get some calls out of the way here because I have people on the line right now. We may not get to that tax person, right? Mike and whoops.
Hey.
Oh, you're okay. Careful when you hit that because you kill my headphones. Mike and Skylar, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
So at this point, I want to give you a progress update. I'm pretty sure I got 5 of the 6, and the one that I'm still stuck on is at the end when it goes da da, like there's like a two.
All right, okay. Do me a favor. Go through them in order, and I'm going to tell you how good you're doing.
You mean tell you over the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you don't want to give it away to somebody else.
Right. Okay. So let me see.
All right.
You'll tell me how good I'm doing?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how good you're doing.
The first song came to me, too.
Okay.
Oh, the first one.
Let's hear. I want to hear what he says.
And Tim, am I correct? When you get it, you're like, oh my God, that's so obvious.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now let me play the medley first.
Okay.
And then you will go, and I got to move quickly because Davey, you're going to call her in a second. Okay, get ready for that. Here's the medley. Check it out. Listen carefully. There are 6 songs in here. Love it. And I realize I did it, so it's all so obvious to me, but it will be to others as well. Okay, Mike, what do you say?
Okay, and also one last question: did you split them? Did you do like 3 from Temptations, 3 from Four Tops? Did you do that? Or would you give that information? Or no?
It is completely random.
Oh, so it won't be 3 and 3.
No.
All right, so so I had My Girl Temptations.
That's number 1. Are you doing it in order?
You want them in order?
I need it in order. Yeah.
I was writing them down. I'm not sure if it's the same order.
You have to have them. You're going to have to have them in order.
Oh, okay. I wonder if I'm going to have to call back and
why don't you do that? Call back before the end of the show, because you may be the first winner, and the first winner gets his or her choice of, hey, I got a party of whatever. I want this many tickets.
All right.
Okay. All right. Call back.
Okay.
Here is Mayor Mike Galimi, Utica. Good morning.
Well, hello, Bill.
Good morning.
Hello, Tim Reed.
Hey, Stefan.
All right. I've got about 30 seconds. What are we calling on?
Well, I was at a benefit yesterday for Stephen Swan Humane Society at Nothing Fancy yesterday, and it was a good time had by all. And also, tickets on Wednesday and Friday for the Comets this week are $10.
Wow. Okay. Their final 2 home games of the season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a rough year for the Comets this year.
Yes, it has, and hopefully we hope for a good finish to the season.
Yeah. All right. Good deal, Stefan. Thank you.
Who gave you a ride, Stefan?
My good friend Jack gave me a ride out to Vernon.
That's great.
Good.
I wish Jack would call in, because then we can talk about that. Wait a minute. Jack, is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Hello, Jack. Well, hello, Jack.
Well, hello, Bill.
Say hi to Stefan. He's on the other line. I assume all went well at the fundraiser.
Stephan.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. He enjoyed it very much. I just stayed out in my car and I waited for him, but he really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
All right. Is that what you're calling in about?
No. I had a question on the radio station at the Utica Hotel.
Yes.
Isn't that the original tower still up on top of the building?
It might be. I don't know the answer to that.
Check that out.
I don't know. It may very well be.
You'll have to follow up on that.
Okay, I'll look into that. That's a good question, especially as we celebrate our 100th, right? That's a good question. So, okay.
Right.
Good stuff, Jack.
Okay,
I'll check. Thank you.
Go.
Thanks so much. And Stefan, you have a wonderful day. And how were the screaming nurses? I'm sure they were just incredible.
They did a great job, and Donna was a hit.
Oh, I'll bet. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Okay. Thanks, man.
Good. Happy Easter week.
All right. Happy Easter week. Okay. Thank you. That's Stefan Rybitsky, and he's a huge Mets fan. Yeah. I've been hearing from him all week. The Mets are doing well until Saturday, of course. They took one on I thought he was going to say chin, but said on the nose. And turns out it was a loss on Saturday. Davey, are we good? Maybe not. Okay, I've got other stuff to go to while you set that up if you need to. I understand that it is not easy to come up with these 6 songs, but Tim, of these songs in this medley by either the Temptations or the Four Tops, they're coming to the Turning Stone Resort and Casino Sunday, April 27th at 8 p.m. Tickets on sale now at the Turning Stone box office and through Ticketmaster. But there are 6 songs here. Listen very carefully and see if you can pick out in order the 6 songs. No particular order. One might be a Temptations, one might be the Four Tops. But listen carefully. If you're the first person, I have 10 tickets to give away. If you're the first person to nail each of these songs in order, say you want to bring 4 people, you could say, I want 4 tickets. Everybody else will get what is left in forms of two in pairs. But that medley is not easy, I understand, but it is doable. So good luck. On the phone line right now is Heather MacDonald. She is a Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, a contributing editor of City Journal and the New York Times bestselling author of The War on Cops. She's a recipient of the 2005 Bradley Prize and over a dozen awards for her writings. MacDonald's most recent book is When Race Trumps Merit: How the Pursuit of Equity Sacrifices Excellence, Destroys Beauty, and Threatens Lives, from 2023. MacDonald is also a non-practicing lawyer and is on the line right now with us. Heather, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Thank you so much for taking the time. You're here with our guest this morning, Tim Reed. He's a local businessman. Tim and I, what do we have in common? We both spent a lot of money putting our kids through college.
Yeah.
And also a lot of time, at least I did, when my daughter had applied to a school that she thought for sure she was going to get into, and she didn't. And we kind of felt like she didn't meet the quota. The numbers were wrong. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, right?
Correct. Colleges have decided for decades now that they value certain students more than others. There's completely double sets of admission standards. If you're white and Asian, you have to meet one level of qualifications in terms of objective tests of academic skills like the SAT. If you're black and Hispanic, you have to meet a different set, a much lower set. And this has been bad not just for the principle of neutrality, it's been bad for the very students who are the so-called beneficiaries of these racial preferences. It doesn't help anybody to be put into an academic environment where he's not competitively qualified with his peers.
Yeah. It almost is basically saying, well, because you are this ethnic group, you're not as smart, so we're going to, like playing golf. You're gonna tee off from the women's tees.
It's completely condescending, and it doesn't help close the skills gap, because if people know they don't have to perform competitively with their peers, a lot of people are going to say, well, why should I bother? The way you get ahead is to believe that you do need to compete, you need to strive for excellence, and people are not going to make excuses for you.
Yeah.
So it's been poisonous on college campuses, and you end up, bringing in groups of students that are by group average differently qualified. That's not a way to break down racial stereotypes. It's a way to perpetuate them, because students know. They compare SATs. They know who's getting in. They know who's not getting in. And they can also see what happens once students are admitted, who's managing to keep up in chemistry and who's falling behind. It's absolutely predicted by the skills that people bring in when they come to college.
This is going to be very, I think this will be a really interesting, it's a Common Ground series, which I love at Hamilton College, because they take a very important topic like this one, and they'll get people from both sides of the issue. And that will happen coming up at Hamilton, and you'll be a part of that. Was there ever a time that affirmative action was valuable and was important and was necessary? I would go back to, in the 60s and 70s, when it seemed that black people didn't have a chance because of the color of their skin, not necessarily their abilities.
Well, affirmative action is a very slippery term, and it means many things to many people. Initially, it was promised to us that it would mean extra outreach, making sure that a business owner was looking in a broad array of fields and areas in order to find possibly qualified candidates, not just going with the old boys network or whatever. That's perfectly acceptable. And it's also, of course, perfectly acceptable if an employer has actually been discriminating against minority candidates, to put that employer under a decree to say you may not use race as a qualification. Now, of course, it's okay to use race as long as it's against white and Asian people. But what affirmative action really means today is racial preferences. And I would say it was never, ever a good idea to bring people in under different standards. You know, you saw this in fire departments, you saw it in police departments where black police officers or would-be police officers sued because the tests, which were objective, which were colorblind, which were neutral, had a negative disparate impact on black candidates, not because the tests were racist, but because there was a problem with the literacy skills of blacks. The solution to that is solve the problem, solve the literacy problem. Do not lower standards for one group of candidates, because when they come into the job, they are not going to be competitively qualified with their peers, and that puts the public at risk, and it perpetuates those stereotypes that we're trying to bring down.
We're speaking with Heather McDonald, who will take the conservative approach from the decision. Later, after the decision from the Supreme Court, we also it became more broad, right, to include admissions, financial aid, scholarships, housing. So this really covers everything now.
Well, yes, the principle of neutrality, the final vindication of the idea that the 14th Amendment said you may not discriminate on the basis of race. That means you don't discriminate on the basis of race. It does not allow reverse discrimination. If it's not okay to discriminate against blacks, it's not okay to discriminate against whites. Very simple. That principle, which was litigated with regards to academic admissions, Harvard and the University of North Carolina, like every other selective college in the universe, we're employing vast racial preferences, vast different standards for blacks on the one hand and Asians and whites on the others. That principle has now been extended to corporate. A lot of corporations now have been junking their own double standards for admissions and promotions, foundations. The place where it has not gone forward is the military academies. The Supreme Court punted on that. I think that was a big mistake. But with any luck, this is going to continue moving forward, and we are going to not hide the problem that racial preferences try to hide, which is that we do have a very serious academic skills gap, and that's what we need to work on, not going around claiming that we have a big white privilege or, microaggression or systemic racism problem in this country, because we no longer do.
I guess your answer that you just gave is probably going to be the same answer that you'll give to me for this question, and that is, what do you say to the people on the other side who are like, well, now you're going to look at a Harvard and it's going to be all Asian, or you've just eliminated the chance for minorities to be able to go to a Harvard?
Well, I haven't eliminated the chance at all. If they're qualified, they should go, of course. It's a sad thing if we say the only chance that blacks have to go to Harvard is under double standards. What needs to be understood, none of these colleges are discriminating. There's a difference between being excluded because of your race and being excluded because you do not meet the competitive standards of that institution. Those are very different things. They've been conflated. Nobody has an entitlement to go to Harvard or any other school. You qualify. Your skin color is not an accomplishment. My being female is not an accomplishment. I do not expect to be admitted to MIT because I'm a female, but that's what happens. I do not get expected to be admitted to the Cornell Engineering Department because I'm a female. That's what happens. I do not regard being female as a mark of success or privilege on my part. It has nothing to do with my qualifications, and that goes for race as well.
Yeah. Tim.
Hey, Heather, I am a Hamilton graduate from the class of 80, and I guess my question is, so when I went there, I kind of looked at it more that there is a formula, but it felt like, okay, we're going to build this tribe of people, and you're going to have an experience with some people that you probably would never meet in your life in regards to whatever it is. And now we're at this point in regards to where it's a discrimination issue. And I guess my question to you is, do you feel that if in fact that this is happening, that it also continues itself within college itself, that the professors are in fact, because if they're not good to go in regards to being able to perform, is this also being perpetuated within the college itself, that the professors are saying, well, this person is a minority, therefore I'm using a different grading standard than I am for somebody else?
Of course that's happening, Tim. Professors are under enormous pressure from their deans if they are not giving enough high marks to blacks to lower their standards. It's absolutely standard practice because once you start this system in place, it's going to keep going. There's no end to racial preferences. It happens after graduation as well. Law firms put themselves under enormous pressure to hire black graduates out of law school despite having completely different set of, again, qualifications, and those black associates flounder and they end up attriting from the law firms, and there's not that many left by the time they meet partner, but even there's pressure to put them into partner roles. So yes, you either have a double set of grading standards or everything drops. Mm-hmm. You have an across-the-board drop in standards. And listen, the caliber of our students today is an absolute appalling catastrophe and an embarrassment. Mm-hmm. And this has been going on for decades, where we're lowering and lowering standards, blaming the standards rather than the lack of preparation. Colorblind neutral standards are not the problem. You keep the standards and you meet the standards. You do not demand that standards be lowered on your behalf. And the administration, the diversity, bureaucracy is all about double standards and making excuses for people on the basis of the trivialities of race and gender.
It is interesting because when both of my boys got into school and they went where they wanted to go, but didn't strive to go to a place where it's difficult to get into. As my daughter, my wife says, it's because the gender is superior. I'm sure you would agree. So, she applied at NYU and did not get in her first time around. And they said, well, we took a lot of foreign students, a lot of, all of these. Because we spent the money on hiring someone to assist in getting in. And their suggestion was go off to another school, St. John's, and do really well, and then reapply. And that's what she did, and she got in. I wish I knew that what she should have done, instead of going in as a chemistry student, she could have gone in as something else that would have been easier to get into. She might have gotten in. Nonetheless, we literally were told it was because of the quotas that we had reached a point, which she's white, of course, and we'd reached that point. It is horrible for the student who is looking at someone else whose grades aren't quite as high or did not perform as well that gets in and they don't. On the other hand, yes, so preventing that discrimination for someone like our family, how do you prevent discrimination going forward with whether it be an employer or a school that doesn't want to hire a minority because of discrimination? How do we prevent that?
Well, that's illegal. If you can show that an employer has discriminated against somebody on the basis of race, that's a clear 14th constitutional violation. That's not what goes on now. That's not, for one thing, it's very rare. You show me a mainstream institution in this country that is not bending over backwards to hire and promote as many blacks as possible. Right. The reality today is black privilege. It's not white privilege. If your daughter had been black, she would have been a shoo-in. And that applies to banks, that applies to J.P. Morgan, that applies to Google. If you're a competitively qualified black, you can write your ticket anywhere. So if there are those barbaric, Neolithic employers that are saying, I don't want any black people in my organization, they will be sued.
Yeah.
But that's not the situation we have today. Today we have the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's become a reverse discrimination. And then finally, based on just what you had said, is that we are underperforming as in the United States in preparing our kids for going to school. Are we going to end up now with a Harvard that's all Asian or all foreign students? Because they seem to be doing much better at putting education as a priority than we are.
Yeah, and if so, they deserve it. I have no problem with that. I would love to put every admission officer out of business and do it exclusively on objective tests. There is no more obnoxious, self-satisfied group of egomaniacs and admissions officers making these big judgments about students' lives. They have no qualifications. There's no skill to being an admissions officer, but they fancy themselves artistes crafting these, as you say, utopian communities. It's sickening, their power. You should read the testimony in the Harvard and North Carolina lawsuits, the reports from these admissions officers making these condescending judgments about, are you brave? Are you interesting as a human being? Are you generous? What right do they have to make those judgments? So yes, if we have heavily Asian elite colleges, so be it. They deserve it. They work their butts off. They're whooping everybody else's ass. Let everybody else try and catch up with the Asians.
Can I just simply say...
How does she really feel?
Can I just simply say, Heather, this is going to be fun tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Because you'll be going off...
Why do you think so?
You'll be going off against the opposing opinion at Hamilton. It is tomorrow night, and the demise of race-conscious admissions, Supreme Court's 2023 decision on affirmative action. It's tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the chapel at Hamilton College. Going to be very, very compelling. We appreciate you coming on this morning. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill and Tim.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk soon. We might not talk soon. I don't know why I said that. But I hope we do. Yeah, I really do. Yeah. She's good. Yeah. Quick break, and the county executive is next on WIBX.
Mattress Express's closeout sale on brand new leftover inventory and floor models. Right now, buy a king or queen and get a free adjustable base. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available as well.
Now at Kubota Orange Days, your local Kubota dealer at White's Farm Supply is delivering the savings you need for the life you love. Join us on Saturday, April 26th at our Waterville location for the exclusive deals on America's favorite compact tractors. We'll help you find the perfect match with special Orange Days financing and savings. Don't miss this chance to save on the Kubota you've always wanted. Only at White's Farm Supply in Waterville on Saturday, April 26th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
White's Farm Supply.
Are your tires tough enough for the journey ahead? The Nokian Tires Outpost tire is strong enough for getaways, but comfortable for the daily grind. The Outpost is infused with puncture-resistant fibers, assembled in North America, and covered by a pothole protection warranty. Extend your adventures with the Nokian Tires Outpost.
Find Nokian Tires Outpost tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
It's tax season. By now, we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number, $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed. Save up to 40% in your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. That's LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually, in fact, true. How would you like up to $4,000 of free windows? And when I say $4,000 of free windows, I mean $4,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $4,000 to get $4,000 free. You just get up to $4,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of these restrictions are income-based, and you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
He probably should have been, as we discussed earlier, the candidate. All right, here we go. Good morning. Good morning. In studio right now is the county executive, Anthony Pacenti.
Good morning.
And thanks so much for coming in. Do you want to comment on any of the... this is going to be really interesting.
I would
tomorrow night at Hamilton.
I can't be there, but I'd love to see the... I'd love to see the
interplay
or the streaming,
so
or it's being streamed.
It is streamed.
Taping,
it is streamed. You go to the Hamilton College website. It will be streamed, and you could watch it.
Hopefully, I can see it afterwards.
It's their common ground, and it is free and open to the public. I love it when they do these. The one that I loved tremendously was the two secretaries of state. You had Condoleezza Rice and the other Rice, Obama's.
Susan.
Susan Rice.
Oh, that's right.
So interestingly, Susan Rice was a student of Condoleezza Rice, and very much they respected each other. Probably Susan Rice more respecting her teacher, right? But there they were on two different sides of this, and one of the issues was the Iran deal, and but that was so interesting to hear Bush policy versus Obama policy. And the two there going head to head, and one of them who kind of had an advantage, Condoleezza, because she was a bit older and was the
sage.
She was the leader. She was the teacher.
Sure.
So it was really interesting. But this will be equally interesting.
And it's interesting, given the dynamics of what's happened on the state level, and all of the things that are happening. I mean, literally around. The budget and the things that are holding everything up, and all of these other pieces, and even when you look at this, the issue of hiring and whatever. But I mean, think about what the governor did in the order we challenged, saying you can't hire them for anything.
Right.
So how do you just arbitrarily say that about certain people?
It is interesting, and it's complicated at the same time.
It is.
So here's where the complication comes in. If you're a police force, and you need to make strong connections with neighborhoods in your city. And if your police force, and the part where you need to make connections maybe is black, and your entire police force is white, you probably have a problem. And I don't know how do we find the in-between there?
It's tough all the way around. And
recruiting is harder for minorities.
Recruiting is harder. We have struggled with that for years. And I'm first to admit it, that, it has been difficult to attract. I mean, not saying, because there's a difference between hiring and attracting.
Right.
Because you can hire. I mean, hiring.
Hire anybody.
You can hire. It's attracting, minority candidates to apply to these jobs.
Yeah.
And that has been difficult. And it continues to be difficult. And while we have, and it's kind of interesting when you're in a community such as Oneida County, and you have Utica, and you have Rome, and you have such diversity in terms of the amount of languages and cultures and all that. Now, the interesting thing is, we have been attracting those that have come here as immigrants, refugee population, et cetera, to positions, and to police officers, to correction officers, to caseworkers, to other jobs, and attorneys, and other obviously other jobs in county government. It has been difficult on the other side of that, and that's very surprising, and something that we struggle with.
I don't know if it is the problem where if you're brought up in a certain area where you just feel that's not for you. That's something that, everybody's white and you're a person of color. That is not something that you would strive for. I don't know. I don't understand it all. But at the end of the day, you got to hire the right people.
But in other cities, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Well,
it doesn't happen like that. I think in bigger cities, it's different. In smaller
harder
communities,
for here.
It's harder in smaller communities.
You're right.
I knew a minority police officer, and he was under a tremendous amount of pressure in regards to suddenly being involved in law enforcement and living in the city, and now suddenly having to arrest people that may be very family people and whatever. I mean, the first thing he had to do is actually kind of move to a different part of the city because there's a pressure there that
there is.
It's hard.
I know a pressure.
It's very hard.
A particular prosecutor, and without mentioning that, at one time left because the pressure of being a prosecutor who had grown up in that neighborhood with that kind of pressure from his peers that he had grown up with. That
you're a turncoat.
You got to turn your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And let us go.
Right. It's almost better to leave.
It is a very hard,
especially if you do it in your home, in your hometown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if we decided, and I know this because this did exist in the NBA and in professional sports, where blacks just weren't accepted.
Right.
And could you imagine if all of a sudden today we decided NBA needs to be looking more like America?
Right.
Oh, no.
Right now we're mandated to hire lesser than white people to play in the NBA.
But remember, and I can remember, because being a baseball fan, forever. I mean, the first African American black manager, was Frank Robinson.
Yeah.
And that was in 1975, I want to say, 76, somewhere in that era, which was kind of interesting that after all those years.
Yeah.
You had coaches, they had them on the coaching staff, but
not as a manager.
Not as a manager.
And think about even, the stories of Syracuse playing in football in the 70s, early 1970s, and going off, and black players not allowed to stay when they went to the South, not allowed to stay in the hotels.
Well, one of the
it's terrible.
If you and there's numerous documentaries, but one on Reggie Jackson. I don't know if you ever saw the one on Netflix.
I did.
Oh,
that was pretty powerful.
Yeah, it was.
He used to pick up so much money that was thrown at him, and he had some sort of a charity or whatever. Yeah. But he found batteries. They used to throw a lot of batteries. He said, but the thing he got the most scared about is when he found a crossbow arrow that had been fired.
Crazy. But we would hope that we've reached a point where we don't have to do this. But if we could just judge it based on the law, and that is, if you discriminate against someone for whatever the color of their skin, that's illegal.
Right.
Exactly.
And it should be. Exactly. So that's the decision here, and it's been obviously controversial. That's tomorrow night at Hamilton College, and you can see the stream. It'll be that's at 7:30 tomorrow night. Certainly worth watching. All right, what else? Do we have the official date of your State of the County?
We do, and we have not put it out officially, but it'll be May 20th.
So interestingly, the budget is still not done.
And talking to our legislators the other night with Senator Griffo, with Assemblywoman, another extender until tomorrow, I believe. And then the interesting thing is, obviously, it's a short week.
Yeah.
Because, again, they broke last Thursday for Passover. They'll break this Thursday for Easter. And assuming they don't, because they don't get it done and I doubt that they would get it done in 2 days because there's just a massive, unless they do those crazy all-night sessions where they just print bills and vote on them.
They seem to be really far from.
But I think I from what I'm seeing, again, you'd have to talk to Joe and Marianne and Brian and some of the others and Bob and just see what their take is. But it seems every indication we're getting is they're still very far away, and part of it is discovery and the changes. On that end, and then it always comes down to spending, of course, everybody.
But it's all policy stuff.
This isn't budget, but it isn't budget stuff.
It's budget stuff. I know how they want to spend the money, but we're looking at a pretty big deficit, aren't we? As well,
we are. I believe we are. I mean, I they've been talking about it, but then the governor wants to give away money.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's going to get money.
That. I mean, $500 is going to change everybody's
life.
I
find if you're gonna, I mean, they had it kind of a little better when Biden and Trump did it, because you were getting a couple $1,000s. At least you can do something with that.
Well, and it
was
a different reason. I mean, there was a different reason for it too.
So you want to bring COVID back? What are you saying?
I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying. I'm saying. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
How much is $500 going to change the lives of the family?
It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, and especially at a time. I mean, when what people want to see is costs go down.
Yeah.
And taxes leveled as best they can, in terms of all that. But I'm not, they have a deficit. They have, a criminal justice problem because of the prisons. I mean, that problem's not going away.
Right.
And I read an article this morning before coming here, there's still, and I can't remember the number. I should, how many National Guards are still
there. Yeah.
In the prisons. I got one for you. I mean, here's one. A displaced correction officer, or terminated according to the state, resigned according to the contract, whatever the case may be. In the National Guard, assigned back to the prison he was in.
Because he was in the National Guard. Wow. That's wild. And I'll bet he's treated better.
Well, I mean, but it's. I mean, how does that work? How does that work?
It's crazy.
Work?
Well, so when aren't they supposedly announcing the closure of 3 prisons? When's
5.
that?
I think there's 5.
So we're told they will not be here, according to Senator Griffo.
Is that what? Yeah, I mean,
that's before.
It's 15 minutes ago.
A lot of it. Yeah, I know. I mean, and I don't want to.
That's before the strike. So, and by the way, May 20th is when your State of the County is.
It is.
That is also, May 20th is also the school board elections and budget vote.
Oh. Perfect.
Now, here we are on, today is the 14th. So we're middle of the month in April. Schools do not have the budget. So they have no idea what their budget can look like.
Right.
And they have to vote on that budget on May 20th.
Well, but here's the thing for all of us. I mean, it happens to us every year.
Yeah,
our budget we're on a calendar year. State's on the April year.
Right.
And so, some of the cities are on. A few of the cities, the villages, those areas are on that state year. The school district though is on the July 1, the July 1 year. So for them, this is a tough piece. But for us, our budget's already done.
Mm-hmm.
So when they enact the state budget in April or whenever they get to it, I mean,
hopefully in April.
Everything that we've done in October when we put ours together in November is fluid because there's no way of knowing what they're going to do, in terms of mandates.
I don't think they should. You know what? I don't think they should allow these extenders because, I mean, all you're doing is you're just, at some point in time, just shut everything, make them talk to each other because otherwise we're just continuing this mess.
Well, and for New York forever has always been the three. Used to be
three
the
people
three
in a room.
There used to be the 3 men in a room. You can't say that. That's not the
3
case
persons.
anymore. 3 people in a room. And it continues, and that's really, I mean, it just the fact that there is no, input or or discussions, and they just got to sit there and wait. And that's the other thing. I saw some of the freshman legislators that were on the news this morning that just got elected from other parts of the state, expressing frustrations. Like, this is the system you got into. You know this.
Yeah. Any truth to the rumor that Anthony Constantino, who was running for the 21st, now is out, who has, Liz Joy has an order of not an order of protection, a cease and desist against him who was just in Mar-a-Lago over the weekend giving President Trump a bronze statue, that he's also giving you a bronze statue. Do you a Passetti statue?
No, he's getting the one that's about the tall as Mellows.
Yeah, I don't think I'm getting any statues.
A little statuette,
maybe. Anybody in particular.
All right, and so you're really just waiting at this point to see what this budget is going to look like.
We'll see what the budget comes up with. We'll see what other changes, and and again, like as Tim said, I mean, it's twofold.
Yes.
I'm concerned about the financial aspect because of what we have to run on the county side, but then again, the policy stuff impacts the financial aspect of it. So
you don't know what you're
getting.
It's
all crazy. Yeah. We don't know what that's going to do, and on the prosecution side, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. We'll continue with this. Thank you. Okay. County Executive Anthony Passetti. Tim, thank you. Revive Software, Soft Wave Therapy by Timothy Del Medico. If you're having neck pain or back pain, knee pain, wrist, arthritis, this is an amazing treatment that actually sends the stem cells right to the problem area. It's incredible. Call today. Do like I'm in the middle of a treatment there. Call them at 315-725-8427. Timothy Del Medico, Revive Softwave Therapy. And portions of the program today brought to you by Steep Bonnie Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville. As Rick says, come on in. Let's make your deal. They are number one in customer satisfaction at Steep Bonnie Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
If you're push mowing your yard using an inefficient lawn tractor, or your current zero-turn spends more time in the shop than mowing your grass, it's time you look at a Hustler zero-turn lawnmower. Residential mowers from Hustler are built like tanks and drive like sports cars. All Hustler mowers have fabricated welded steel decks, so don't settle on cheap units with flimsy stamped decks from big box stores. Come see Warner Sales and Service, and we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. Warner Sales and Service, located just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona.
This is Dr. Robert Fleischer, urologist with Upstate Urology at Mohawk Valley Health System. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer and second leading cause of cancer death in American men. Early detection is critically important in managing this cancer and improving survival. I strongly encourage all men aged 45 to 75 to get screened, and you can do so at one of our free prostate cancer screenings. For more information or to register for this free screening, please call 315-624-4600. 315-624-4600.
¿Sabías que el cáncer de próstata es el